Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young. Hampton Roads has a long-running high school.
And we welcome you to 757 Saturday Sports Talk. It's Hatfield and Young at the Plex on this Saturday after a big day of high school football action, the 9th day of Saturday. It's our first full weekend of football, all kinds of football in terms of the college, the pro, and the high school games. Ed, how was your week? And you're back in school, aren't you? Which is why you look already disheveled / grumpy / not so happy.
It was a great first week. Those that don't know, I teach 10th grade. Nans River High School. Been doing it way long time.
Way long time.
And
you know, give us the year you started. Do you remember the year you started?
I can't remember the year I started.
I was in diapers, ladies and gents.
I think this is my 41st year in teaching.
Oh. Do you get like a certificate when you get to like 40 years?
No.
They don't give you like a certificate? Really?
They just give you hall duty.
Okay.
Kids are great. It was a great first week. Every one of my classes was tremendous. There was one funny thing. One of the youngsters came up to me the morning of the second day and said, Coach, can I get to work for today because I won't be here? And I'm like, well, you're here now. No, I got in-school suspension. How you get in-school suspension on the first day? Even this guy never did that.
No, I didn't.
So
it took me about till day.
But he told me he made a mistake, but he was okay with it, and he's a good kid. I think he'll be a good student. So I gave him to work, and it was a really good week. But they're just sizing me up, testing me to see what they think they can get away with. So they'll find out. This is not the right guy to mess around with.
Are you ready to go through the games of note from Thursday and Friday night across the 7
Let's do them all. Let's do them all.
7x7 and beyond. I'll tell you what, it was a heck of a game on Friday night. I know you want to start off with that game. And it was the big showdown over at Powhatan Field in Norfolk. Let's fire up the football music in the background. There you go. You hear it. Maury, Highland Springs. It was probably 6,000 plus. And I know a lot of people were chatting about this game on social media, on VirginiaPreps.com, TV stations there. Everybody was there. Listen, this one lived up to the hype. Maury got out to a fast start. In fact, jumped on Highland Springs in this matchup, got a couple of quick touchdowns in Norfolk. Highland Springs, let's note it out of the gate here, missing two key players, defensive back and Noah Jenkins, who's committed to Virginia Tech. He's out at his arm in a cast, probably 3 to 6 weeks. Running back Elijah Williams out. But Maury's still missing Kendall Daniels, who was a key factor for them last year on their run to the state championship game. Class of 2025 stand up with a boatload of offers. They hope to get him back at some point in October or perhaps November. But in his place, I mean, this guy is certainly the starting quarterback. Torrey Newkirk got off to a sizzling hot start. 6 of 7, had a touchdown run to cap an 11-play, 88-yard drive in 7 minutes. And also began the game where Maury outgained Highland Springs 187-10 in the first period alone. 7-0 lead, and he found one touchdown, got called back due to penalty to Fred J.R. Johnson, the South Carolina commit. But he had another touchdown that got them on the board early on a TD pass. LeBron Bond was a factor for them. All their receivers got it going, and Maury ends up pulling it out. Highland Springs got it close. Late in the half, it was 14-7, 54-yard touchdown run by sophomore Eric Bird. 20-7, though, it was in favor of Maury late in the second quarter as Newkirk got his second touchdown run. Highland Springs, though, put together a nice drive, Ed. 12 plays, 65 yards. The Maryland committed quarterback Christian Martin with a touchdown run from a yard out. They were 3 for 3 on fourth downs. And that's when it felt like the game was turning. Maury had to punt it back to Highland Springs. Muff punt, recovered by the Commodores. They got 2 key second-half takeaways. And then the kicker, Andrew McClung. Oh, special teams, as Ed likes to say, make them special. 53-yard punt to the 10-yard line of Highland Springs. Also booted through a field goal from about 22 yards out, and Maury got it done. They slay the Richmond Dragon 804 super team, if you will, for many, many years. Highland Springs 5 state titles in the last 8 years. It was Maury 23, Highland Springs 14. What they say, we got some all-stars ourselves here all across from the 757. The Norfolk group is really, really good. And Newkirk, very impressive. But more than that, Ed, the running game for Highland Springs to produce what it did on the ground, almost 250 yards rushing, a very, very, very big deal for them. And if you're Dyrri McCain, you have to like this performance in a hostile environment, as far as the crowd goes. They're at home, right. But packed atmosphere, good team that tests your will. They got it done.
Yeah, and a key reminder for people is now Highland Springs is Division 6.
Correct.
They're not going to meet in the playoffs like they did last year.
And it's funny you say that because we actually had our Rivals national analyst, Adam Freeman, there, and he's going to have some stories up on our parent company with Rivals, and we'll have it up on VirginiaPreps.com, that I think he, like many, still think they'll meet again in the playoffs because they've met for 3 years since 2018. All playoff wins for Highland Springs, who came into this matchup a perfect 11-0 under Lauren Johnson against teams from the 757. We'll not know more now. It's 11-1. But Highland Springs moved up to Region 6A this year. So the teams they would see in the playoffs are Thomas Dale and Manchester from their area, as well as perhaps Oscar Smith, Western Branch from the 757. Maybe even a Lansdowne could be a first-round matchup. You never know how the seeds go, 1 through 8, 2, 7, 3, 6, 4, 5. But that's a good point.
Right. They won't play. Now, I would say Highland Springs will be in the playoffs, go deep. And I think Maury will be in the playoffs and go deep. It's just they won't meet each other. You get an early season matchup like this. A lot of times teams in their non-district matchups don't. Let's jump to the college level. Let's call what the colleges do. They'll play your hyphenated schools, your supposed people back in the day said cupcake teams. Well, Maury and Highland Springs are state contenders, state championship contenders. They're going to be in the playoffs. It's just a matter of they're going to get to that final game, each in their respective divisions. So they took a page away from that book of playing somebody maybe a little bit weaker, where you could play some kids, really get your stuff established. Because in a game like that, every little thing is magnified. You just mentioned about the special teams. And a game like that, when your special teams come through, or you're set for the rest of that season. I would think so.
If you're on YouTube, we always encourage your comments. Hit us up on Twitter, 757 Sports Talk, IG community, all you people out there watching and tuning in. I've got the crazy stat sheet that Ed will try to decipher here. So if you look at the numbers here, 334 yards for Maury to 222 for Highland Springs, technically 220 on the ground. The thing that jumps out at me, Ed, only one turnover for Maury, 2 for Highland Springs, and they were able to get a bunch of different players running the football. You can't key in on one guy, which I think is always a sign of a championship team. It's not a one-man show, if you will, right?
Right. And I think also in football, again, I'm a basketball-minded person, but in football, if you can, what do? You establish a run so that you can pass. You establish a pass so you can run. I think those teams that go deep can do both of those things fairly well. And then every once in a while, you got the quarterback with some spider legs, and he's moving all over the place. So you can do some crazy things with that. Me, as I always said a joke in the past, 4th and inches, I'm throwing the bomb. I'm doing flea flickers. I'm doing wide receiver passes. I got the backup tackle in the backfield at the goal line. We're going to hand him the ball.
That's why we keep him away from the gridiron. It doesn't make
you don't want me on a football field. There'll be some crazy stuff happening.
Last point before we move to some other games, because we'll also hear from Dyrri McCain later on here in our show. We caught up with him about the game last night after the win. When you look at Highland Springs, I think we'll be just fine. Lauren Johnson did a nice job of trying to slow the game down in the second half, establishing the run themselves, because Maury seemed to have the tempo and the speed in their favor, which they've known to do under Coach McCain. They can go up, they can go hurry up, they can throw it, they can run it. And Maury was able to, I feel like, respond from what Highland Springs did to counter them. It's sort of the adjustment to the adjustment, and now you adjust. You see this a lot of times in other sports, basketball, which you coach, the little chess match. You'll see it in baseball, the strategy, especially as you get closer to postseason time. Hopefully my D-backs are there. We know Ed Yankees won't be. I had to throw that in there real quick, a little dig. But in all seriousness, I feel like this is going to make these two teams better, this experience, this game. No need to worry about Highland Springs. They're 2-1. They'll be just fine contending again for Class 6. And win or lose, Maury was going to be just fine. Got a great test, though, coming up with Dinwiddie next week at Dinwiddie with that atmosphere, the horse and the cannon. They're defending Class 4 state champs. That should be a show as well. And I think that'll be a higher scoring game, maybe like in the 40s, maybe even someone squeaking into the 50s, because that could be, they want to go up tempo as well. So that could be a track meet.
Now, I mean, that's amazing. Maury's going to go from playing somebody like
Wise, Highland Springs, Dinwiddie. That's your first 3 games.
That's unbelievable. Highland Springs, if I'm not mistaken, next week plays another local team.
They do.
But it's at their place at Highland Springs, if I'm not mistaken. IC Norcom.
So, the Greyhounds.
Right. So a lot of athletes on Norcom, not quite as polished as a Maury squad is right now, but athletes, and that'll be a battle to go there. One of our other local teams, which we'll talk here pretty soon, had to travel towards the Richmond area and didn't come out the way we thought maybe it would. A little bit better, more hostile environment type situation too. Excuse me. But I laud those teams, those power teams playing those power schools early.
You want to go backwards into Thursday games, which we have the score scrolling across the ticker.
Let's
go backwards to the Thursday games as our score ticker is finishing up there. As you see them in alphabetical order, Bethel beating Menchville 41-7. Did not see that coming. We both picked the Monarchs in that one. So salute to David Porter, whose team lost its opener to Nansemond River, but they have got back on the horse and done so very, very well. And their running game was effective in that game against Menchville. Got a big pick 6 from Derek Fisher to ice it. Not Derek Fisher, who played for the Lakers back in the day, but another Derek Fisher got the pick 6 for them. And another thing about Bethel in this game, Maury Pryor with a couple of touchdown runs to extend the lead to 23-7 when it was a 10-7 ball game. You see Warwick, a 52-0 winner over Kecoughtan, as that was an impressive shutout for them. Got it done thanks to, they've scored 147 points since giving up the opening kickoff for a touchdown to Grassfield in game 1 there in Chesapeake. Rajon Hammond had a touchdown run. Eduardo Rios Jr. threw the ball well. Mike Allen had a TD. Almost had a pick 6 for the big man up front, which you'll hear about with Coach Corey Hairston. Adonis Watson, one of his linemen, had a pick, and he ran it back, and they said he was down. One of those, the lineman has his dream where he's going to take it in for a score. But Warwick, 52-0, and I hate to do this because I'm dismissing the rest of the Peninsula District. Everybody's pointing towards the Warwick-Phoebus showdown at John B. Todd Stadium in Newport News on October 27th. Warwick hopes to be, I think they'll be 9-0. Phoebus looks to be 8-0 because they'll have Denby the following week, November the 3rd. But if you're wondering about that matchup and Warwick's chances, well, the way they're playing it with their defense, they have a chance. They have a very balanced and explosive offense. This time of year, you got to be able to throw it and run it. You got to be diverse enough. However, last time Warwick has beaten Phoebus was 2001. These kids were not born then.
No, that's a long, long time ago. Warwick has really established himself as not only a power team in the Peninsula District the last couple of years, but in that whole division.
No, they're on Division 5. They moved up, by the way.
Right,
they were in 4.
In Division 5 now, they're still going to be strong. Just moving divisions, for people got to understand, it's, once again, divisions are all set up 1 through 6 based on high school enrollment, not strength of teams. That's not how it's done. It's strictly enrollment. So when a team moves up or down, and they've been very good, don't expect them to just all of a sudden start losing because, well, now they moved up, or they go down and dominate. Well, wait a minute, there's some really good teams on the division right below them. It's just based on enrollment, period. And Warwick is a factor. It's almost like the Warwick needs to get that one
test.
Like if they beat Phoebus, boom, look out. It's everybody's going to say.
But you want it before you play Phoebus, much like a team in the Beach we'll get to in a little bit that I think needs a test before someone they'll see in the state semifinals. And speaking of that, as we see the top 10s from Virginia Preps rolling on across our ticker, you see Class 6's rankings. Colonial 4 just jumped in this week right behind Oscar Smith, who's 9th. The Class 5 top 10, Maury's 1, Green Run 2, Warwick 3, Kingsport 4. You say it's a lot of 7-5-7 flavor. Briarwoods is 5. Stonebridge dropped to 6 because they're 0-2 in their game with Woodgrove got canceled last night due to weather. Patrick Henry Roanoke, Douglas Freeman, and you see a team, Nansemond River, number 9.
Nansemond River.
And you see Riverbend. By the way, one more score from Thursday of note. Tab Tigers. Salute to John Byron, first-year head coach over there. Former assistant for Andy Lynn at Lafayette for many years, was a head coach at Menchville. Tigers 28-0. They're 2-0 before they take on York, which is a longtime rival game for them. And then Kecoughtan at New Kent, Bruton at Lafayette. Coach Byron, Coach of the Year consideration with what he's doing. They were down against Heritage, had a fourth-quarter comeback. They're running the ball. They're playing old-school, fundamental, sound football, Ed.
Yeah, a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken, they had almost trouble fielding the team.
they've had some ups and downs. Yeah.
Now
Matt Lawson did a pretty solid job there, but they've not been one of the Bay Rivers contenders. And now they're looking like a nice story, similar to what we've talked about with Granby out of the Eastern District.
Right. Now those teams' fortunes hopefully are turning around. Hate to see people struggle losing games every week and programs going down the tubes, but these two programs are coming back up, so Brute will be somebody to
Tab. We'll get to Brute in a second because they're another one that's on the rise as
Exactly.
well. But that was a good hire. They got a veteran, experienced coach in Coach Byron. I think he was ready for another head coaching chance. Hadn't had it for a while. Was at Menchfield, but he was part of a winning program with Andy Lynn at Lafayette, and he's used that experience to help Tab, who's 2-0, get ready to take on York. As we see some of those top 10s roll across, you see the Class 3 top 10. Let's go back to some games on Friday. Where do you want to head to? You want to go to the Eastern, the Southeastern, the Beach, the Peninsula? I'll let you pick a couple of private school scores. Hey, let's show that out real quick. Why not? Atlantic Shores, which plays right here at the Plex regularly, they got it done in their game to open as far as home season. We had Wayne Lance on our Hatfield on the Hash podcast. If you haven't checked it out, it's available archived on our YouTube channel.
That's a good one.
Virginia Beach Sportsplex channel. We had Wayne Lance as a guest, and I didn't jinx him, and we kept you away for that, which Wayne Lance agreed with me.
I'm the jinx on
No
him.
question.
Okay.
No question. Coach
All
Young is the jinx of jinxes. 53-13 for the Seahawks over Norfolk Christian. By the way, if you missed that game because you were at the Maury Highland Springs game, or you were at a game in the Beach, the Eastern, or you were just busy with some Friday night plans like Ed was, because he has stuff to do. He's too busy on a
Didn't get a
Friday
chance to
night.
watch the game this past Friday.
Yeah, he's
I
going.
will
He's,
next week.
he's honky tonking around town. You can do what Ed will do later and go back and watch it on our Virginia Beach Sportsplex YouTube channel. It's always archived. You might hear yours truly call the game next week with North Cross. But let's shout out a couple of his young men. How about the coach's son, the quarterback, Micah Lance, 5 touchdowns. He can do some things Wayne couldn't do as a player. He's slinging the ball very well. 3 of them to Chris Higgins. And the defense added 18 points. Tristan Williams had a couple of long touchdown runs of 70-plus for Norfolk Christian. But the Seahawks looking pretty sharp here, Ed. I think they're going to be in that contention again, VISAA. They've won, I think it's 4 state titles since 2001. And they play a fun brand. They don't have, 30-plus, 40-plus, 50-plus bodies like a lot of your public schools do.
Right.
But if you want to check them out, they're worth the price of admission. I think this is a group that will continue to keep people on its toes. And defenses, you have to get to them early and break down the protection if you want to beat them.
They make the big plays. They make a lot of plays on offense. As you said, depth is an issue. A lot of those kids are playing both ways, and even some 3-way playing on special teams. But when you're putting those kind of points up on the board, you got playmakers. Also, I like to believe your line is giving you protection. They're creating holes. So that's a team that you better be able to score a lot of points, because they're going to easily outscore you.
Again, we've got Lemort Smith of First Colonial coming up. You'll hear from Corey Hairston of Warwick, as well as Dyrri McCain of Maury. NFL picks for week 1 at the end of today's podcast. You don't want to miss it. We've got a special guest picker who's got a famous name known nationwide, and we have some buy or sell, a mixture of some college, some pro, and a bonus question. You don't want to miss all that. We'll go through one district here before we take a break and hear from some of our sponsors with some commercials and do some more scores when we come back, play a couple of the clips. So what district do you want to touch on? You want to go through the rest of a couple of the private schools? You want to go to the Beach, the Eastern and Southeastern Peninsula, Bay Rivers? Where do you want to go before we go to break?
Go private schools. We've been talking about them. Sometimes we put them at the end because we don't have as many scores. Let's put them first.
I like that. Collegiate school over Nansman, Suffolk Academy, 31-20. Hasn't been the type of start for Mike Beal that we would like to see. We love Mike Beal out there at NSA. He's a really good coach. Isaiah Furman's a playmaker to watch. You know him from basketball, wide receiver. But I think they'll get better as the year goes on. They're having some growing pains defensively right now. Norfolk Academy, though, no growing pains defensively at all. 42-6 over Catholic. Will Foley ran back the opening kickoff, 75 yards. And this is an old Norfolk rivalry, as you know, Ed, going back to 1955. They've played 61 times. Bulldogs now lead the series 42-18-1. And Cooper Zyko, a couple of touchdown passes. They're putting up 48 points per game. So Steve Moniger's Bulldogs, if you like high scoring, and Ed loves these type of games, it's like watching Texas Tech or Hawaii or Boise State. He loves it. Watch out for them. And I know what you're getting ready to ask me. When does Norfolk Academy play Atlantic Shores? That was about to be your next question, because you want to see that game. I know that's where you're going.
I'm hoping it's later because they build up all these points.
And you want to be on the call of that, I know.
And then they'll come in the game. I would like to do that. They'll come in the game both averaging in the 40s.
Well,
basketball on turf.
I hate to break it to you, but it's not a scheduled game this year.
Oh,
look at that! I just broke his heart. I did all that build up to just break his
make
heart.
Some changes.
He wants to add the game to the schedule. It's like, look at this.
Move somebody out of the way. That's all.
Play a bonus game. That's what you want. Bonus game.
No, we just take a team and say thank you for coming, and you're not playing. We're putting this team in place.
Look at you. You are something else. You are something else.
If I was the czar of scheduling, I would.
You are the czar of scheduling. What do you mean? If you were, you can do it. Why not? Who's going to stop you? Nobody's going to stop you. Yeah,
a whole lot of people.
All right, we're going to take a time out here from some of our sponsors, and one of them, Ed loves it. It's the pizza place.
Oh, jeez.
What are we talking about?
This is killing me every week to come here and then I'll listen to some of our great sponsors, and it's all food related. I need to see the food here. Sponsors, you're doing a great job, but send us a delivery something. I go for a slice of pizza right now.
We'll hear from Chicho's and some others and be back in just a bit.
Okay, who here has reached peak fall?
Peak what?
Peak fall.
I am wearing plaid.
And I'm wearing a cardigan.
I guess I am eating snickerdoodle cookie dough.
And I am eating a pumpkin pie blizzard.
The new DQ Fall Blizzard menu has reached peak fall. Pumpkin pie, snickerdoodle cookie dough, and more. They are back.
I just love fall.
Apparently we all do.
Oh, they did it. Peak fall achieved. DQ, happy tastes good.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
And we are back here, 757 Saturday Sports Talk at the Plex with Coach Young. I am Matt Hatfield. We got some comments already chiming in. Dante Hall Boxing Talk, who joined us last week on the comments. He called it, by the way. Maury, great game. More athletes in a better line and D-line. 757, we back on top. Phoebus and Maury both looking like two of the top 5 teams in the state. I don't think you dispute that at all, Ed, do you?
No, like I said, when you come to state tournament time, those two teams will be there.
And the future Hall of Famer, Lynn Burke, longtime sports scribe with the Daily Press and HR Varsity over there. Now he's just kicking back in the lazy boy with the family, watching the grandkids, watching sports. And he occasionally helps us out from time to time when we have a favor or two to ask with us at VirginiaPreps.com. You two look great on the big screen TV. I don't know about putting us on a big screen TV.
Put us on the little screen. We finally got a screen behind us. Now we got to fill our cabinet right here with memorabilia and stuff. Maybe some people can send some things in that we can legally put on here, not something crazy. But Lynn on the big screen, that's got to be crazy. And I know your grandson probably got a comment about either this guy or me.
And remember, his late mom said he did have a face for radio. And speaking of which, DC Cavalier commented, missed the Saturday morning recap used to listen to on radio. Good luck going forward to YouTube channel. One thing missing the background music as you go over the scores, but I'm sure you guys will figure that out. Last thing, does Keith from Smithfield know where to find you? Somebody out there, get a hold of Keith. I know our man Derek Fulgham knows Keith well. We want to get Keith to call in, and I think probably as soon as next week, potentially, we will have a call-in number for folks to join us. You can always shoot us comments and hit us up on Twitter, or X as they call it now, 757 Sports Talk, as you see, and drop us an email with any inquiries you have and all that good stuff. So.
And of course, two things. First of all, it would be great to have Keith be our first caller. He's our longtime caller back when we had it on the radio. And number two, once again, you just saw some great sponsors. We talked a lot about Chicho's, but what about Dairy Queen?
Yeah.
I saw that ice cream now. Now I need a blizzard.
Yeah.
I need a slice of pizza. I need a blizzard. And again, people out there, anybody wants to sponsor, maybe perhaps you have a business, side hustle, whatever. You want to fund. There's all kind of packages you can get into here. Let us know. We'll get the bosses to know what's going on, get involved in this. The more we get, the more we can do. We can really branch this out. And both Chuck and Nick and Dennis have some great plans down the road for us in terms of what we can do, but it's really going to be predicated on sponsor help as anything is anywhere. So, and please, as Matt said, recommendations, talk about some things. We'll try to put them into play. We can't do what everybody wants. We'll try to give you our best shot. But then again, we do want to listen to the public because the show is for you. Without the public, pretty much no show.
And Dairy Queen, it is fan food, not fast food, grill and chill. Check them out, DQ.com online. And one more thing before we get back to some scores here. We're going to have some music in the background, so that's what I get to. Sort of like other podcasts, original shows out there, we can't use certain music that's, copyrighted, if you will. So if there's an aspiring artist out there, you want us to play your music, or you have permission from someone written that we can play it, we'll play it on the show as music, and we'll even give you a pop out there. So it's got to be clean. We don't need vulgar language like
clean
that.
Version. We
clean
want to stay on the air.
Ed's looking for some differerent musical choices, and we'll play a little bit
got
of
some
football
music
in the background. We can't play some of his music, and we don't want him dancing. That'll discourage the audience. All right, we covered some private schools. We hit on the big game with Maury taking down Highland Springs 23-14. You'll hear from Dyrri McCain coming up. Also, Corey Hairston from Warwick. We covered the Thursday winners, such as Bethel and Warwick and Tab. Where are we heading to next? I know you want to go to the Southeastern, where your school got themselves a very big win.
Big win. Potential big showdown next week. Let's do that, Southeastern.
Nansemond River, the Warriors led by Alonzo Ricks. Are you like a basketball coach I know from the Beach District? I won't say his name. Do you go on the sideline and act like you're an assistant football coach and jump up and down, high five people? You're not like that guy, I know. Who's probably watching this and he'll hear about this later. He knows who he is. You don't do that?
Yeah, most games I go to, usually they want me to work it. If I go to it and I don't have to work, I do like to be on the sideline, but I'm not, only because I want to see the game up close.
You don't want to take away from their glory, like the guy we know. And we know we're going
I'm not going there and making suggestions or whatever. I'm just getting out of the way. I don't want to get hit by those kids in those pads coming flying over there. My reaction time is very slow.
I'm just needling that guy so that he calls in the show and wants to throw back some digs at me.
Come on, man.
Kendrick Overton. What a performance by him. By the way, coming up, and we're going to announce it, they're going to get, we mentioned Chicho's, a free pizza, I understand, from what Chuck and Nick are telling me, every week for the Player of the Week by Chicho's.
Oh, I thought it was for
not
me.
From Ed Young. No. You can deliver it to him, though. If he gets it, he's going to be a candidate.
If I deliver it, I'll be eating it.
How do you nominate, you ask? How do you nominate? Well, just send us an email. You can post on Facebook, YouTube, comment. Just say, I'm nominating so-and-so for Player of the Week. It can be anywhere. And I'm going to give the first nomination. I'm sure he's going to get nominated. Kendrick Overton, not you. 4 touchdown passes for the Warriors, who beat Deep Creek 53-14. And not only did he have 4 touchdown passes, he also ran for 110 yards on 13 attempts. He was 21 of 36 for 318 yards. So he accounted for 428 yards of offense on Deep Creek. And 3 of those touchdowns went to Emmanuel Izagu, the James Madison commit. We'll get to a little bit later on. A big matchup for JMU today against the Cavaliers of Virginia. Izagu's known for his defensive prowess. Well, in this game, he was known for catching the football, as he was a menace on offense in this ball game. Did Izagu 5 receptions for 146 yards and 3 TDs. Warriors all over Deep Creek in this one, 53-14. And I think you only had them scoring like 32, so you need to up the point total for the Warriors coming up as they get ready to play host to Oscar Smith at Arrowhead Stadium in Suffolk, as the Tigers responded from the loss to Phoebus with a big win over Great Bridge 48-6. That's got game of the week feels to it, doesn't it?
It does, in terms of we know what Oscar Smith has done. His River's done very well lately, especially, and now they're putting points on the board. I told Zone the Croup I had them 32-14. Had the defense right. I just know they would score that much. And they got weapons. They do have some. The quarterback is just tremendous. And I echo you, too. I would vote for him right now. Player, I'm a little prejudiced because it's my school, but he deserves it. And that was a big win. Over, Deep Creek is not Sisters of the Poor Academy. So that was a big win for him. But now here, it does set it up for next week. When's the last time Nansemond beat Smith?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question, because I was ready for you to throw it my way and give you an answer. The last time Nansemond ever beat Oscar Smith was before Ed Young arrived as the basketball coach there in 2004, after coaching previously he did at Green Run. The Warriors beat them in 2002, 59-0 over the Tigers. That was Rich Morgan's first year at Oscar Smith, and the Warriors head football coach was none other than your good pal, our good friend, Brian Moss. How about that?
Wow. That's 59.
59-0 in Chesapeake.
Wow. I got that past Brian. What do you remember of that ball game?
To see. So there you have it. 3 more scores for you in the Southeastern District. Grassville was off last night. The Lakeland Manor game has been suspended and is being picked up today, probably as we speak, or it'll be in the books after you've watched this. Late first quarter score. Manor leads Lakeland 13-0. Western Branch and Kings Fork did not get underway due to lightning out in Suffolk, so they'll play. It's a scheduled kick at 11 a.m., so you'll either see this when it's in the books, and we'll pass along scores for you on X. Follow me at Hatfield Sports. VA Preps Rivals for Virginia Preps and 757 Sports Talk as well. And then one more in the Southeastern District to touch on it, and it was a final. Indian River 33-0 over Hickory. So the Braves have bounced back 86-0 since losing to Verina. And they got a bye week before playing host to Deep Creek and Kings Fork. So opportunity is there for Indian River as they've sharpened the offense, and the defense has been really strong through 3 games, 13 points allowed. And they got Jordan Harris, one of the best pass rushers around. So I tell you what, if you're looking at early player of the year candidates, and unfortunately the Southeastern District has not picked it lately, Overton's my leader in the clubhouse for offensive player of the year from Nansman. And I might go Jordan Harris, the defensive edge rusher for Indian River, as the defensive player of the year, even though there are some other very worthy candidates and options out there. We did our picks at the beginning of the year. I'm not sure, did we pick either one of those? We had them in consideration, but I think I took Javon Ford at Kings Fork to running back.
Yeah, we didn't.
And you took Azago on defense.
Right. They weren't under consideration, but we didn't pick them. Didn't hardly even mention them. Now they're showing us what these two yahoos don't know. They can put points on the board and they can stop people.
Yahoo!
Yeah.
That was a good chocolate drink.
Is that going to be one of our sponsors? We can't talk about it.
We can. Parent company of our Virginia Preps. So Indian River's in Region 5A. Do you want to go to the Beach District, which has a lot of Region 5A schools, or would you want to go somewhere else? You're driving the car right now.
Yeah, I'm going to drive this car and go.
We'll put on the night driving, the late night driving.
Let's go.
It's driving at night, even though it's daytime.
District.
Eastern District.
I threw a loop. Look, see, I threw a loop into him. He's not ready for it.
I'm ready for it. No, I'm ready for it. Lake Taylor came up short against the Hopewell Blue Devils. Macari, Tatum, Kecoughtan, Henderson, and Ricky Eric's team. Too much for them as they scored in this ball game. I believe it was 24 to last 32 points to beat the Titans 42-25. Lake Taylor had an early lead in this game in the first half. Just, I think, ran out of gas, which they were showing some signs of potentially in that heat. Couple Saturdays ago against Camden of New Jersey. We know Hank Sawyer's going through the passing of 2 of his loved ones with his mother, Gloria Johnson, and Theo Ford, longtime assistant coach. And depth has sometimes been an issue for them, and conditioning when you get into the second halves of games. And Hopewell speed is certainly a test. They've played the last 2 years in the playoffs. Titans won last year. Hopewell won the year before. But it's not going to get easier for Lake Taylor because we talked about Stonebridge's tough schedule in Northern Virginia. 0-2 start for them. They got Quince Orchard and Good Counsel, Maryland powerhouses up there. Titans have St. Christopher's on the road coming up on Thursday, who just beat Lafayette last week, and then they take on Maury. So if they're not careful, this 1-1 record could turn into 1-3 before hosting Booker T to close out September. I'm sure they'll make some corrections and adjustments, but right now you just wonder if you get to a second string guy, if that player is ready to perform at the level of the starters, the mainstays for Lake Taylor. We know some of those mainstays like the Syracuse commit Elijah Moss-Washington and certainly Roy Norfleet up front. You got Jameer Sporty Freeman at quarterback. But right now, you run into a team with the speed and athletes of Hopewell, it can be troublesome if you get behind.
Yeah, and again, we talked a little bit about scheduling philosophy earlier, and you're playing powerhouse teams, really good teams. And normally when you have a good team, you want to play a lot of good teams, maybe some average, maybe one below average, just so you can do some scheming, do some different things, play some kids that maybe don't get a whole lot of time in those bigger games. The problem with that is if things don't go well for you and you take an L and then you take another L, here you are a good team, and you might be 1-3, 1-4, 2-4 as the season goes on. And in high school, that's very detrimental because of how they do playoffs. College, it's not usually a big deal because in the bowl games, you got to be at least 566. You're in the bowl. If you lose none or one, you're probably in the Final Four consideration. High school's way different, and that could be tough on kids young kids in terms of you're playing against good teams. You're playing well, but you made a mistake or two, or that team was just a little bit better and they beat you. Whereas if you would have played some of the weaker teams, you would have had those wins. So it's all about philosophy in terms of scheduling. But then once you start playing them, there's no excuse. You got to produce.
No excuse. And we mentioned the Maury win. Obviously, you'll hear from Dyrri McCain coming up here shortly as they got it done against the Highland Springs Springers 23-14. Manor Lakeland still going on. Norcom and Churchland, two Portsmouth schools getting victories. Churchland 28-6 over Booker T. Washington. Norcom 40-13 over Norview. Liking the defense for Churchland, holding the last two opponents to 6 total points. Liking the offense for Norcom, which responded from the shutout loss to C.H. Flowers. They scored 38 on Grafton, 40 on Norview. That Norcom-Churchland game's always got some spice, some sizzle to it. Should be a good one October 6th over there at Joe Langston Stadium early in October. I think that's a really big litmus test measuring stick for them, because I don't think quite Churchland and Norcom are at the level of Maury. Lake Taylor remains to be seen right now. And Highland Springs coming up for Norcom is a toughie. Hopewell coming up for Churchland is no easy matchup. But I think Churchland in Region 4A, Norcom Region 3A, those are two teams that can win a playoff game. Then when you get to the second round, that's where it's rubber meets the road potentially for them.
Right, and it depends on what you did early in your schedule. Did you get through injury-free? Football is an injury-type sport, and you can't afford to lose a lot of people, especially if your depth is minimal. Then you see where you're at that point in time in terms of in that playoff situation. And that's where maybe a tougher schedule does help you. If you get through healthy and you pick up 1 or 2 key wins against a big team, then that can help you in the playoffs, because you can easily, as a coach, you can say to the kids, we're not going to see anybody in the playoffs that's any stronger than maybe this team that we played in the regular season. You did well against them. That gives those kids motivation.
All right, let's finish up with the Beach and the Peninsula, sprinkling the Bay Rivers as well. Beach District last night, the Cox Falcons victorious over the Bayside Marlins 14-9. Ed had Bayside. I had Cox. It's now 8 in a row. Kudos to Tyler Noe and the Falcons for getting it done. This was one that's going to be some sleepless nights for John Wood, I think, Ed, because they rallied from the 7-0 deficit, took the lead 9-7 in the fourth quarter, got interceptions from both Ralph Parker and Octavian Young, who's kin to Henry Coley, by the way, former Bayside star.
Cousin.
And UVA linebacker. All right, Octavian Young, we got that already established. Cam Kirby throws for, I think it was close to 280 yards for the Marlins, but Cox, as Bayside's trying to run up the clock, up 9-7 inside the 30, they fumble. Just one of those things that happens. You know, it happened to Josh Allen and the Bills against the Vikings last year. It certainly happened to Clemson Monday night against Duke. Thanks a lot, Tigers. That's another story for another time.
Yeah.
But
it can be costly.
I had them in my college football Final Four. Oh, you're just
I
a
told you
mean
Clemson
guy
would
over
not
here.
be in a Final Four.
Yeah, don't you feel like
so
you
this guy got one.
Back to Bayside Cox. Cox goes down the field. Give Gage Treffrey some kudos. He finds Chase Landre with 4 seconds to go for the 8-yard touchdown. And no, he had a decision to make. You've got 8 seconds to go, 8-yard line. They actually got a penalty. They were around the 15-20. Sam Braidwood, who kicked a 48-yard field goal last week. You try the field goal to win this puppy, what would it be, 10-8? Or 10-9, 10-9, because they were down 9-7. 10-9, he does, and he keeps the offense on the field. And remember, with 4 seconds to go, if that falls incomplete, maybe he tries the field goal then. So he had one play there, but Cox pulls it out. They go down the field. Nice job by them with 1:46 to go. They recovered a fumble. They go 75 yards, and they're 2-1. Bayside drops to 2-1 before the Marlins take on Lansdowne. And the Falcons, responding from that loss to Green Run, traveled to Ocean Lakes. Keep your thought on that in a second. Ocean Lakes falls to Kempsville 28-20. And we have a new star on the scene at Kempsville, freshman running back, which we'll hit on with our Hats Hits. He's pretty darn good. That's Tajay Curtis. 173 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns on 26 attempts. The defense led by Darrell Veal with 11 tackles, 3 for loss. Elijah McDaniel with 12 stops. And Morgan Hurst with a perfect 4 of 4 on extra points. A couple more scores for you from the Beach. Tallwood, a 28-26 winner in overtime over Lansdowne. So John Keppel's Lions even the record to 1-1. They get it done. Nathaniel Getz had a TD in that one for the Lions. Shout out to him. And First Colonial 2-0. We're going to hear from Lemort Smith coming up here shortly. 36-26 over Princess Anne. Their offense is humming right now. Green Run, no surprise. They wallop Pelham 56-0 as their offense is just dazzling on another level here. But games of the night, Cox coming back to beat Bayside, and Tallwood winning an overtime game over Lansdowne. The Eagles have dropped 2 games in OT by a total of 3 points. They're better than 1 and 2.
No question. When you look at that, overtime both, that close. You can't get much closer than that. Now that's where you've got to keep their mindset strong, keep practice strong. Fellas, we're right there. It's going to turn over as long as you guys are into it. Because sometimes kids in high school, again, they get devastated and lose, and they start hearing from the classmates that you can't win this and that. That hurts it. Bayside boys, I feel for John White, a great coach that does a tremendous job. And you think you have the game, and then the almighty fumbles come in there. That you don't recover the fumble, which makes things tougher. Then Cox, goes right down on the field. To me, that's tremendous execution, tremendous coaching that you can get that team down the field. I know in the pros that we always talk about quarterbacks in the last 2 minutes, how they make the team come back and win, and they're down to go the length of the field. Always amazes me because defense ain't going to just let you do stuff. So same thing at the high school level. So those are two tough losses for Bayside and Lansdowne, and now it's going to be interesting because, as you said, Bayside plays Lansdowne next week.
Bayside plays Lansdowne next Thursday. Yeah, that's a game to watch out for. I think another game to keep your eye peeled for in the beach. Green Run's playing first Colonial. It's 2-0 right now. Nice story there. We're going to hear from Lemort Smith. Don't make him mad before he comes on. Don't say something at Green Run. But Green Run is just head and shoulders right now. They are so good offensively.
You're going to have to score.
But they have some guys on defense. Cam Johnson, I think, on the defensive line. Tyler Baker in the back end of their defense. Caleb Turner, an Eastern Michigan commit. You got Milt Ferguson and Jamie commit. So they have playmakers on defense. It's just their offense is so overpowering right now with the way they can score. And Kassan Farrar humming on offense for them. They've been doing it for a few years now, and their receiving core is very lethal.
Yeah, again, you play a Green Run team. That's like when you play a Maury, you play Highland Springs. You can't make a lot of mistakes, if any. You have to execute. You've got to mix it up a little bit. You've got to keep them guessing. And it's no time to play our worst game. You cannot play bad games against very good teams or power teams. You're not coming out with a win.
So before we take a break and catch up with Lemort Smith of First Colonial, you want to hear from Thursday night's winner? We'll save Dyrri McCain for the next hour of the show coming up. You want to hear from Corey Hairston of the Warwick Raiders, who are now 3-0.
And that team is rolling. I want to see what Corey got to say.
Corey Hairston's team is rolling. Here's our conversation with him as it's Hatfield and Young, 757 Saturday Sports Talk style at the Plex. I'm here with Warwick head football coach Corey Hairston. His Raiders pitch a shutout 52-0 over Kecoughtan to move to 3-0. That means donuts coming for the kids here, Coach. And since giving up a touchdown on a kickoff return at Grassfield beginning of the season, you've rattled off 147 unanswered points. Your team in all three phases really click on offense, defense, special teams tonight. We watch Eduardo Rios lead your passing game. Rajon Hammond and Ian Bacon with the ground attack. Bacon runs a kickoff back, and your defense, everybody's making plays, including Adonis Watson. Your lineman almost had a pick 6 tonight.
Yeah, we're pleased with all three phases. We cleaned up some things from last week because, again, it's always 1 week at a time, so we're not focused on we're focused on ourselves, and we're focused on cleaning up from the week before. So each week is 1-0. We're pleased with all three phases tonight.
It feels like everything begins with you. We spoke about this in the preseason scrimmage you had at Cox. The line of scrimmage, your offensive lineman's giving you a good push, and then your front four defensively, even rotated a couple guys as we move along here tonight in the second half. They're constantly getting pressure, getting tackles for loss, and everybody's eating for that group.
Yeah, the offensive line and defensive line, we're on them a lot. But they respond when the time comes. So we're happy with them. We still have room for improvement, but we will keep getting better.
What's it like in practice with them? Because, we're calling out all kinds of different names like Adonis Watson or Christian Corbin or this name, that name. Do they have, healthy competitions in a good way of, to see who can get the most tackles for loss, or how's that go with them?
Yeah, we definitely have healthy competition in practice. We make our practices hard to make the game easy. So we definitely have healthy competition in practice.
I put this on the blog tonight, and I think I even posted this, tweeted this, that Isaiah Emery for you at linebacker is really having a breakout year. He was good a season ago, but it feels like he's an all-region, dare I say, all-state level player, the way he's just making some sure hits for you at linebacker.
Yeah, he has really, he's come from another school. However, he's really adapted to our defensive coordinator and his teaching at linebacker. So we're very pleased with how he's developing. So we're happy with him.
Speaking of development and maturation, to speak on Eduardo Rios Jr. for you at quarterback. I know coming in 84% completions the first 2 games. He hit 6 of his first 7 tonight. He's really spreading the ball well. And even there was a 3rd or 4th down play where he just alertly picks up with his feet. It feels like he's just more comfortable at the QB for you guys.
Yeah, in my opinion, for what it's worth, I felt like he was the best quarterback coming back in the region. And he's shown it. So that's just my take on him.
Yeah. And you've got a bunch of different guys that can make plays, whether it be Keon Batts, Mike Allen, Masai Delhomme. Statistically, tonight wasn't one of his outrageous performances, but even that zigzag run, it's breathtaking to see some of the things he can do on the field in any of the three phases, offense, defense, or special teams.
We don't just rely on Masai. I know everyone brings his name up. But you mentioned some guys who are playing hard and working hard. So when he does get the ball, he's going to do his thing.
Lastly, last two for you. I brought that up about the defense. So you also see that with Delhomme. You see the receivers make contributions and want to push each other to get better. And then the running game with Rajon Ham and Ian Bacon. It feels like your ground attack is very, very consistent, and it takes pressure off the pass game, and you can just kind of chew the clock when you want to with that.
Yeah, those two backs, Rajon and Ian, they have really formed a bond together. They formed a bond together, so they really feed off of each other in practice as well. So it makes things easier in the game.
Tonight you get 5 sacks, most points in the series against Kecoughtan, breaking the 46 previously from 1991. I know everybody's going to talk about Warwick and Phoebus end of the year, but how do you keep the group focused week to week and not start looking ahead or past opponents coming up?
Well, 1 week at a time, 1-0 each week. That's it. Simply put.
Yeah, just keep piling up the W's for Corey Hairston and the Raiders. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Good job. So that was Corey Hairston of Warwick. Ed, I think we're at the point now where we've talked about Phoebus's defense being just awesome, and we know about Green Run's offense at an incredible level. Maury's got a well-rounded group offense and defense here. Warwick has not technically given up a point with its defense. So here we are, 3 games in. They've got Menchville, Gloucester, Heritage, Denby coming up, then Woodside, Hampton, Phoebus. How long can this potentially go where their defense, now they get up 7 to Grassfield on special teams, but their defense doesn't give up a point. I know the offense is performing, so is special teams. You need all 3 phases to be clicking, but they're doing it with, outside of Messiah Delhomme, who's a class of 2025 standout, who's getting a lot of Power 5 attention from Maryland, Michigan, you name it. They have a lot of good players, but they're not highlight names that maybe other schools have in terms of recruited for the next level at the high Power 5 FBS schools. So this is a pretty impressive job by Corey Hairston, and shout out to Thomas Sykes. I think it is his defensive coordinator for the job they're doing.
Well, if you listen, Corey mentioned about some things they wanted to clean up on, and it's good that a coach and was supposed to do. Things are going well, but you know what needs to be worked on. You can go look at your weaknesses and try to fix them, because winning cures a lot of ills. It hides a lot of blemishes. And then if you don't, all of a sudden they get exposed. When you start playing some of those better teams, they can expose you. So they went in there and they said, hey, right now we just got to worry about ourselves, get ourselves right. and as long as we know what the other teams are doing, we can scheme it all right. But we just got to take care of ourselves, which is a good approach, obviously, to take. And he's done that. How long they can keep shutting people out? It's hard. The longer you do it, the harder it is. It becomes more and more mental on your mind. I think it builds up pressure too. The kids are probably rounding around each other saying, hey, we shutting people down. Coach, we're doing it. And the coaches, like, who's the team that does the donuts?
Well, everybody does donuts.
Well, everybody does donuts. Shut out people. That's why
we talked about Phoebus a couple weeks ago. We were talking about it with Vermont. We talking about it with a bunch of teams.
That's right.
You get shutouts.
With the donuts.
But so what you're saying, like my dad once told me and taught me, the longer a streak goes, it's hard to snap, which is why Ed Young does not go streaking.
That's right, because it'd be harder to snap, whatever that meant. My whole thing is I don't want to worry about trying to shut out people, because again, I think it puts a little bit too much pressure. We want to worry about being in the right positions. If we've done our scout work and whatever, we're in the right positions to shut them down. If a shutout happens, that's tremendous, but that's not your main focus. I think your focus is, we got to play right. We got to correct our own mistakes, be in the right positions when they do something, and we'll win.
But this is interesting to me as we're getting ready to go to break here and hopefully be joined by Lemort Smith, the first Colonial in a second. Doesn't it give the kids a bar to aim for?
Absolutely. When
you're winning by 30, 40, 50 points, to say the goal is to keep this going. We want the most shutouts, the most assortments of donuts, whatever it be. Doesn't it give them something to not have the lapse or get lax?
Right, you do. I go back into my own coaching. Sometimes if we're really winning, I'll say, okay, this quarter, fourth quarter, we're up 25. And I'll make a statement like, we're not going to lose this game. There's no way we're going to lose it. Because if we do, I will be in jail. So what do we do? What's the motivation?
Jail?
If my team blows a 25-point lead in the fourth quarter, I'm not going to be a happy person.
Okay.
And so I'll give them the idea.
I didn't think you'd be a happy person. You're not a happy person sometimes when you win. So why would you be a happy person when you blow a 25-point lead?
As long as we win, I'd rather win ugly than lose pretty.
Okay.
Of course, we can't say that because we're on TV now. So to
We're
speak,
not on TV. We just have a big TV in the background. That's all.
I like that too. You just got to fill in the shelves.
Yeah, get some memorabilia. Bring some of your cards in here.
But you give them motivation. I might say to the team, okay, let's not let them get more than 10 points this quarter.
Right.
No matter who you put in. Now, because sometimes coaches will give a motivational thing, and they only play like your starter people. You can't do that. If you're up big, you got to play your people, and you say, we're all going to share in this. That way, if it gets done, there's that sense of accomplishment by maybe a second string or a third string. Somebody doesn't get a whole lot of playing time, that there's an accomplishment there. And I think you have to do that kind of motivation because you're coaching your whole team, not just your starting 5, starting 11.
Stuff coaches say, avoided jinx. Coach was at the Fredericksburg Christian game last year. He can't be responsible for any jinxes. So that's what I guess the Atlantic Shores people are saying out to you. They're going to bat for you. So I
like that. Thank you, people. I need somebody to go back because this dude always gets me in the wrong.
We're going to take a timeout, hear from some of our sponsors. When we come back, we'll hear from Smitty. He's the head football coach of the 2-0 First Colonial Patriots. That's Lemort Smith. It's coming your way right after this.
Every year, thousands of athletes disappear in clutch moments due to falling hydration levels.
I used to go missing all the time. I let everyone down. I even let Shannon Sharp down.
Yeah, you let me down. They've been told how you feel yourself doesn't matter. That electrolytes are all the same. Then just like that, they're gone. Get yourself back in the game. Get yourself a Gatorade. Could be the difference between dominating and disappearing. Gatorade. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel.
Okay, who here has reached peak fall?
Peak what?
Peak fall.
I am wearing plaid.
And I'm wearing a cardigan.
I guess I am eating snickerdoodle cookie dough.
And I am eating a pumpkin pie blizzard.
The new DQ Fall Blizzard menu has reached peak fall. Pumpkin pie, snickerdoodle cookie dough, and more. They are back.
I just love fall.
Apparently we all do.
Oh, they did it. Peak fall achieved. DQ, happy tastes good.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we are back here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk, Hatfield and Young at the Plex, and we are pleased to be joined by the head football coach of the now 2-0 First Colonial Patriots, a big 36-26 win over Princess Anne on Friday night. We say hello and congrats to Coach Lemort Smith, who's out there. Coach, thank you for joining us here. I see you're enjoying the lovely weather we have in Hampton Roads here, and it's always nice to be a first-year head football coach. You've coached other sports at First Colonial, and you're 2-0 right now.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning.
Tell me, how's it feel? And your team's won a couple of tight ball games. That first one with Kellum, it was a back-and-forth seesaw affair. They were throwing the ball while you're running it. I know you hit a couple of touchdown passes. And, in fact, I won't say which chain restaurant it was, but one of your receivers had one of the funniest highlights I saw of the year. It was on the news. He took a sandwich, Ed, after he got the touchdown. He had it behind the goalpost. And he pulled it out almost like, Terrell Owens did with the Sharpie prop. Yep. And he had the burger. I'm telling you what, I don't know what – you can tell me who the young man was. The creativity was off the charts. And I know some coaches will make him run. That show, I thought it was neat. So, but you've got a team that's having a lot of fun right now.
Yes, we definitely enjoy it. We have fun at practice. We have fun in school. Being the head security at First Colonial is definitely a great – it helps a lot. It helps a lot. And, yes, Kellum was a phenomenal team, great coaching staff over there. We did go back and forth. It was a great game. They have a great running back over there. And, yes, the burger did happen. Jacob Emick, who goes by Iggy, it was not planned, on our side. We had no idea it was going to happen. But I always encourage having fun. We won't use any more props this year. I can tell you that there will be no more props that will be used. But we have been having a lot of fun, and it's just like a kid all over again. And we explain it, and we kind of tell the kids every practice, and just enjoy it. Enjoy it. Like, don't let no one take away the joy of just playing football.
That's so cool. Jacob Emick, 2025, tight end Iggy. He's one of our new favorite players, Ed. You didn't
Love
do that
him,
back in
Iggy.
your day, did you?
I would be probably known to stash some food on the sidelines and try to eat it. But the coach back then, I would have been running forever. But Coach Smitty, I got to tell you, congrats too on the 2-0 start. I know as coaches, we say, hey, let's not get too big-headed. But more important than your wins, the beard. The beard has got me. James Harden has nothing on you. Give me the story about the beard.
So the crazy part about the beard is I started growing the beard in the summertime, and I only grew it in the summertime because, you know, with the kids wearing the pads and stuff like that, and they're going through the heat, I kind of was trying to do the same thing. So I would wear the beard, grow the beard out. I'll put on a hoodie. I normally have on a beading, and I'll try to sweat it out as much as the kids have on, and they're putting in the work. So I did it with field hockey last year. And I told them I wasn't going to cut it until we got to state. And unfortunately, we lost in the first round of state. So I said the same thing to the kids this year. I'm going to keep growing it until we get to state.
But it's got to take a lot of work. I tried to grow beard a long time ago. Useless. Can't do it. I don't even know where the hair went to. It's got to. How do you keep it going?
It gets washed 3 to 4 times a day. 3 to 4 times a day. A lot of shampoo.
Wow. Because obviously we know you like the bald look up top, and then the hair is all down here. I'm sure the kids are telling you, Coach, your hairline is dropping to your chin. I'm sure you're getting all the jokes from the players.
100%, all the time. That comes with a lot of stress. I tell them the more hair I lose, it's because of them. They're stressing me out.
Well, Coach, I tell you what,
those close games like last night.
You know, and it's true, and I'm listening to you, and I can see, not knowing you, not having met you, yet you like to have fun, and you mentioned about we have fun in practice and whatever, and you're in a district that has been awful tough and hard to get a lot of wins, and now that you're 2-0, you want to keep enjoying it. But I'm sure, how do you get to the mentality of these players? Okay, fellas, we are 2-0, but explain that sentence when you go into practice.
Honestly, they already have it in them. They're not satisfied. They know, especially the seniors like Rhett McNamara and Kyler Edwards. Those two seniors, the starting quarterback, obviously the starting safety with Rhett being both, the starting linebacker and the starting slot receiver with Kyler being both. They had it in them. It's been 4 years of just trying to get to this level of not being satisfied. And those seniors this year, from day one, when we went out there in August, they were told that this is the end of the road for a lot of you guys. And if this is the end of the road, how do you want to go out? So they're not satisfied. They honestly, last night, I had no idea on what type of battle it was going to be with Princess Anne, and they were great. That coaching staff over there worked hard. Obviously, Philip Sims is a great guy. I met him at the coaching meeting. We actually sat at the same table and had a conversation for the first time. But my senior class is strong. But the great thing is I only start 5 seniors from offense and defense. So we're really young. So my senior class is really putting in the work to show the younger kids that if you want something, you really got to go get it. But it's okay to have fun going to do that.
Couple more minutes here with Lemort Smith, the head football coach of the first Colonial Patriots, riding high at 2-0 for the first time since 2009. They won a thriller over Kellum by a count of 27-25. Knights couldn't get the field goal off at the end, and they beat Princess Anne last night 36-26. It's Hatfield Young at the Plex, 757 Saturday Sports Talk. And, Coach, you mentioned, obviously, Rhett McNamara and Kyler Edwards, some of the guys. We highlighted Iggy for you as well. But tell us some other players that have contributed so far to your start here at 2-0, as I know the Patriots trying to make the playoffs for the first time in 23 years. And I know there's a running back for you, a junior by the name of Raheem Hobbs, I think it is, who had 3 touchdowns against Kellum. So speak on what he's brought your team and some other contributors that have helped you so far early in this season.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Raheem Hobbs is one of the people that's the engine. He is the engine. He is that kid. He starts middle linebacker and also plays running back. That he's just hungry. every play that we needed yesterday, for every down that we needed, for the 2-point conversions that we needed to get in the end zone. He's that guy that looks at you, and honestly, he looks at me yesterday. I look at him, and he tells me, Coach, I got it. And I tell him, are you sure? And he looks at me, and he says, Coach, I got it. And I trusted my players. I trusted my players fully. Just like that pass that was from Rhett McNamara to Jacob Emick, that was 100% the quarterback's call. We were thinking about another play that I don't want to give out yet, but we were thinking about another play. Rhett comes off after dealing with cramps, and he says, Coach, I promise you I'll get it there. And Iggy comes to the sideline, and Iggy nods his head, and they just have it. They have it in them. We also have a corner and a safety that are familiar with the game with Kyler McLemore, also Jamari, and also Avari, who are both, Avari and Jamari are both also 10th graders who start both ways. So we're really, really young. Our offensive line has been perfect. They have not gave up a sack. They have been blocking to the whistle. We had 3 pancakes yesterday from a double team that I haven't seen since I watched the Blindside movie. But we are across top 11 from top to bottom, all 73 on the roster. They are great. They're great kids to be around. Honestly, I'm learning more from them than they're learning from me, because they're bringing me back excitement and just joyful. I've never been to practice every single day and been around so many people. Like, again, I love field hockey. I love girls basketball, but it's 15 people and 15 people. I've been around 75 kids since June, and it's not a day that I don't go home happy.
That's awesome. He's been the girls basketball coach, the field hockey coach, now the 2-0 head football coach of the Patriots. They're getting pancakes, blocking well, no sacks allowed, which is incredible, and a tough matchup on deck, Ed.
Well, for people who don't understand, when Coach mentioned pancake, he might have a player eating a burger, but they're not eating pancakes. It's the idea of Coach, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm basketball minded, where your offensive lineman flattens the defensive person in front of him, puts him flat out on the ground, and then the running back, whoever, takes off right behind. Am I correct?
You're 100% right. Yesterday, there was a play that was, honestly, if you watch the Blindside movie, it happened. In the Blindside movie, it took one person. We took 2, where my offensive tackle and my offensive guard ran a player to the sideline and blocked until the end of the whistle. And then they're so nice. They help the kid up. Like, we're all about respecting the game, but within the whistles, we're all about working hard and working together. And going back to the huddle, if you would have seen the running back tell them, great job, they were joyful off the block, and we didn't score in that play. That's the type of energy and the type of love that we have for each other collectively. And we do team bonding every week. There's something we do every week for team bonding. And it just happened to be that was the week where we told each other stories about what we did in our childhood. We talked about our upgrowing. We had people sing and dance on their talents. Like, we just enjoy being around each other.
Well, Coach, I've got to ask you now. You're enjoying it. You want to win. You're out. It looks like you're out for a nice walk. Some nice weather. Even though there's clouds up there above you, look a little crazy. Green Run is next.
Ooh.
We all know about Green Run. We know they can put points on the board. I know you want to, as you said a few minutes earlier, you don't want to divulge anything on what you're doing, but in a roundabout way, give us a little preview of Green Run.
Green Run has a great coaching staff. I know a couple of guys over there personally that I've grown up with. There's nothing negative to say. That the turnaround that they've built and they have put on the show is phenomenal. But our motto is always, why not us? Why not us? Why can't we be next? Why can't we be the ones to win the beach? And we're going to go into this game like any other game. We're going to practice the same way. We're not going to change anything that First Colonial Patriots do for anybody that's in front of us. We respect every opponent that steps in front of us, but we will not go into any game thinking that any team is better than us. I honestly feel like out of my 75 roster, there's not one person on my roster that I would switch. Out of my 9 coaching staff, there's not one person that I would switch for another person's coaching staff. Like, all around, just together, we're going to be fine. But why not us? Why can't we be the first team? Why can't we be the number 1 team in the beach coming up this year? You guys are breaking up. I can't hear you guys at all.
Okay, we actually, we lost you. So, well, we'll get back to what we were saying here. So I think we were muted, unfortunately, so we got that back here. What we were saying was, you've done an awesome job here in year one at the helm for First Colonial. Big matchup coming up with Green Run, and so far 2-0 start, averaging 31.5 points per game. Obviously, Green Run's got a very difficult offense to slow down at 47 per game, but the Patriots trying to get another victory to move to 3-0. Haven't started this great as far as 3-0 or 4-0 since 2000, the last time you made the playoffs after a 4-0 start. And we appreciate your time today. All the best. Look forward to getting you back on to talk about burgers, pancakes, beards, and FC football.
And Coach, we'll do our top 10 beards coming up. You got my vote number one all year long.
Hey, as long as I'm number one, I'm fine with it.
You got it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Coach.
That is Coach Lemort Smith, so kind to join us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk at the Plex with Hatfield and Young. Apologize about the muted part there, but we got it all fixed. Technical issues. Thanks to Nick for getting us figured out there. As apparently
that's why we got Nick around to help us.
That's what we do. Nick Senti making sure, because our volume got off track. We were talking and nobody heard it, but we were able to do a take two live on the air. Sometimes that happens when you hit some buttons.
A lot of people tune in and mute their volume anyways.
Yeah,
they mute
when you're talking, they hit the mute button.
Well, true, but I'd rather listen than watch.
But what a job they're doing!
FC First Colonial, man, it's big.
I didn't see this coming. I'll be honest with you. I thought they'd probably be 1-1 after 2 games, but he's got them energized. You just love the energy he's bringing as a new head coach.
It is, and I like the idea of their bonding. I like the idea, why not us? We are next. We can win, and that's good. But the bottom line comes down to execution. Now they played 2 respectable teams, but now it goes up.
Different animal. Green Run's really good.
A whole different
but
situation.
They'll take the us against the real underdog approach and let the chips fall where they may.
Right. And again, you play on the teams and on your schedule, what's presented to you. And I know sometimes as talking heads, people say, well, you're talking down about this team. It is what it is. Okay. If we're wrong, we're wrong. Prove us wrong out on the field. That again, as they go into Green Run, they just can't make a whole lot of mistakes. They got to execute. Hope Green Run maybe not 100% on their game. And then upsets can happen. Upsets happen way more so in high school. Now, I know First Colonial will say, hold on, Young, hold on. What do you mean upset? We haven't lost yet either. I get that. I'm just saying on paper, and we don't play on paper, we play on the field. Green Run looks like they have a little bit more tools than what First Colonial brings. But as you just said a minute ago, no, we didn't really think they'd be 2-0. So can they be 3-0 after next week? And the possibility is yes, but they're going to have to execute.
Coming up, we've got NFL picks. You see it on the screen. Week 1, a guest picker joining us. We've got buy or sell as well. You heard from Lemort Smith of First Colonial and Corey Hairston of Warwick, the head coach of the Maury Commodores, Dyrri McCain. And comment, send us a tweet, share it, subscribe. It's Hatfield and Young 757 Saturday Sports Talk at the Plex. And we've got so many people, great sponsors such as Chicho's, CHKD, Dairy Queen, Freddy's, John's Tax Service, One Life, the Drip Bar, Triumph, Realty, Zoop, Pepsi, and Gatorade. He loves him some Pepsi. I love me some Gatorade. We're going to take another break and
slice of pizza and a Pepsi.
Hear from some of our sponsors right here at the Plex. Don't go anywhere.
Wish I was out there. Let's unretire. Why not?
Ready, Moss.
Dan Marino? You alright?
Hey, Grandpa!
Grandpa?
I still got it.
22.
Let's see.
Hey. I need that senior discount.
That's the game. Mr. Marino, you mind if I take a selfie? Thank you.
I'm good right here, bro.
Unretirement? Who'd be dumb enough to do that?
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we're back at 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Hatfield and Young at the Plex. Come on out to the Virginia Beach Sports Plex. So many great things happening, including Mustangs football today. They've got Atlantic Shores football, field hockey during the week. If you haven't heard, we're doing a weekly field hockey podcast, Field Hockey with Hatfield, and then we're also doing a weekly podcast for football. These will usually drop around Tuesday or Wednesday, probably usually Tuesday for field hockey, and for football, it'll come your way on Thursday on the Hash with Hatfield. We keep Young away from the hash because you and hash marks don't always get along.
Well, it's not my sport. I will stay in my lane.
You like football.
We will do basketball hopefully soon, and maybe I'll get a little bit more airtime with the basketball.
Okay.
Maybe
in the wintertime.
Young at the line instead of at the hash. I'll be at the line, or Hatfield at the line, and I'll come off the bench. We'll get it done. But people, again, I'm going to put another plug in. Sponsorship. We need it. It'll allow us to do the things that have been planned out that we think are going to be tremendous as we go down. Be patient with us as we tread our way through this.
And the technical glitches, because apparently, we always said with radio, we keep Ed away from buttons. And I think either he bumped the button or I bumped the button. Sometimes you bump buttons and you get muted.
I don't want to throw my partner underneath the train. But he hit a button, and then he didn't unhit the button.
Yeah.
But also in his defense, he's doing a lot of different things. Because normally, like when we on radio, we would have a producer. Yep. Not that that's not going to happen here, but again, baby steps first, and then things are happening. But be patient. Sponsorship. Get a hold of Matt, myself. We'll get it to the boss people. Call down here with Chuck, Dennis. We can just do more.
We've got buy or sell coming up. Do you have enough coins in your pocket to buy today, or are you selling things?
I'm going to use credit cards.
Oh, you have so much debt and credit. I don't even want to get into that.
I do.
Yeah, look. See, he couldn't lie.
I do. And then when I fall over, keel over dead, they can't
Who's going to
trace
pay
it
it?
down because
Who's going to pay it?
Yeah, who's going to pay? Because
Not me.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not kin to you. My last name's not Young. It might be your cousin that played for, who was it, Bayside of the day you said, or earlier today in the show? One of your cousins?
wide receiver.
All your cousins. All your
one of my
cousins will pay.
Yeah, check him out. He's got money. I don't have money now. I won't have it later.
All right. Well, we've got another interview from a winning coach.
Yeah, we caught up. The big game yesterday was Maury over Highland Springs. Big game. Everybody in the world was there. Of course, my partner.
You weren't there.
I had prior commitments.
Everybody in the world,
prior engagements,
excluding him. Yeah,
I've got to give a piece of me to everybody.
A piece of you to everybody.
Everybody, right? I got people asked me to be here. Somebody asked me to come over here.
That's dangerous.
People, by the way, I'm available for any type of speaking engagement or whatever.
Yeah, how'd that work out for Norcom? They lost the game after you spoke to them. Then they won when you didn't speak to them. They're 2-0 when you don't speak. They're 0-1 when you do speak.
They played. Was it C.H. Flowers out of Maryland?
Yeah.
If they would have had somebody else scheduled, I almost said the team to schedule. I'm glad I didn't say it out loud. But anyways,
you would have offended that entire community, whichever school you said.
But you got a chance to meet up with Coach McCain from the Maury Commodores after this big win, and nobody wants to hear me. Let's hear what Coach had to say.
I'm here with Maury head football coach Dyrri McCain, 23-14 win over Highland Springs, who beat you last year in state championship, and coach, after 3 times exiting your season in the playoffs. So you've got to be feeling nice to be that team after 11 tries. They were perfect 11-0, gets to 7-5-7 to be that team that finally conquers the Springers there from Richmond.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess everybody can look at it that way, honestly. I more look at it as 2 of the top teams in Virginia that's battling out with each other. Whatever the history was and whatever wants to be created with that, cool. We were looking to win today and be 2-0. So we knew that we was going to get this type of game. I'm actually glad that it was this type of game. We want to find out those battles. Can we finish the games? Can we go through those nicks and nats? Can we go through this? Can we go through that? So I'm just glad my guys fought. We had a battle last week in Maryland. We had to come back in the second half. This week we were up in the second half. We had to finish. So we've already seen 2 scenarios that we had to battle or do something, which is good for us. We're starting out the season doing that, and we're still not playing our best football yet. We'll get to that point, but good win right now. We're 2-0. We go to Dinwiddie next week, which is going to be a tough place. I've never been there. The guys have never been there, but we heard about it. We're trying to go 3-0 next week.
Horse, cannon, you can stop at Virginia Diner perhaps. There's a lot of things you can look at. You mentioned about what's in the past is in the past. As a Maury grad, though, this has to feel great because when you got here, you probably looked at what's in the past is in the past. I'm trying to build something new here, start afresh. This game tonight, you got up to some early fireworks offensively, hit some big pass plays on Torrey Newkirk. Your quarterback was sharp. And then you got the running game going. And I really felt your offensive line kind of took ownership of this game along with your defensive front. Just the line of scrimmage, that position, which maybe for Highland Springs has been why they've won some of these big games. And tonight you were going to win it up front.
Yeah, that's a shout out to Coach Bryce, Coach Tev. If we're talking D-line, Coach Jones. But those guys put in the work. They make sure that we're going in ready and battle tested every game. We ran the ball last year pretty good on those guys last year. So the guys got a whole off season of work. We faced some adversity in the off season. So we just brought that with us today. And we were able to get the win. Look, man, they're a nationally ranked program. We feel like we're the same. We feel that way. We feel like we work that way. We don't want anything given to us. So, whoever wants to rank us wherever now, we want to work for everything we get. And that's how we're about.
In terms of preparation and focus, was this a relatively easy, might not be the right word, but week? I mean, these guys seemed rather razor sharp and locked in from jump. Did you sense that all week going into this game?
Yeah. I think that just our camp, the off season, guys have been locked in through our 7-on-7s. Guys have been locked in. Even in Maryland, we were locked in. We just, first game, feel like maybe, didn't make some plays here and there. But this week, the guys were locked in. I mean, they watch film, man. Practice well. Guys showing up. So I'm proud of the guys, man. They're just battling.
Good, we'll let you run. Appreciate the time. Certainly, people look at the matchups and the line of scrimmage, the receivers versus these DBs, and both teams are just littered with Division I talent all over the field. Special teams coach Andrew McClung, he's got a leg. He had a 51-yard punt that boomed them, or 53-yard punt that boomed them inside the 10. Also, a key field goal that made it a 2-possession game. You've known about him for a couple of years, sort of like you said with Fred Johnson for a couple of years. He's the sleeper, Matt. He blows up South Carolina commit. This kid's going to probably win you a big game if tonight wasn't the case, right?
So listen, let me go back with Andrew McClung, right? So I've been trying to tell guys about this kid that we have at kicker 45. All right.
Your college that you had in the spring, right? Yeah.
He's a guy.
Yeah.
We believe in Andrew, right? Now, we had the scrimmage versus Phoebus, all right? And the rule, that me and Coach Blunt had was on 4th downs, it either had to be a punt or if you were close enough, try field goal tries, right? We got down there a couple times, offense stalled out, and we saw Andrew kick a couple. He made a couple. He missed a couple in the scrimmage. So we got that feel in that scrimmage versus Phoebus where his range was at. When we got down here in the zone, I think who's really underrated was the holder, Matt Williams, the freshman.
The snap was high,
He's a freshman.
Yeah.
He put that ball down. It'll be special later on.
Yeah.
But for Andrew to put it through in that clutch moment, like you said, that 53-yard punt, that's huge.
Yeah.
Mind you, last week, he didn't feel like he played his best game, and we told him he needed to step up. So he didn't do too hot last week. Not his best that we know he could play. And he stepped up today. He got better, and that's what we're looking for right there.
Lastly, this game for just the whole state. I think it's great for the 757, the 804, your program, Highland Springs, to play these type of championship games. And you have another one coming with Dinwiddie, as you mentioned. But they had the 3 4th down conversions in the third quarter. You had some great 3rd down conversions with Tori Newkirk, Maury Palmer, Leon Clark, Melvin Lowe, your running game. What does this type of atmosphere and environment, I think it was probably 6,000 plus, it felt like it, do for your team moving forward on your journey to get into the state championship?
I think it's tremendous. Again, we're not a one-man pony show. We have a bunch of guys, like you just named 3 or 4 or 5 guys, and that's what we're built on. And the thing is like all of those guys accept that. They know that it's team football here on all phases. They understand that before getting here. It's not a single-man show. So for those guys to just buy in, like you said, all those 3rd down conversions, and it's a different guy every time. The big plays, you had LeBron, you had Fred Johnson.
Responding from penalties. It came back from
responding back, still being able to get 1st downs. Torrey played tough. The O-line closed us out. And if you remember, when we played that state game in 19 when we won it, our O-line pushed us through to win that game. And we needed them tonight, and they stepped up to the plate. So shout out to Coach Bryce, Coach Tev, for coaching those guys and staying on them and getting it done.
Good job. Well done by you and your kids and staff. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thanks, Matt.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Good job.
So that was Dyrri McCain, the head football coach of the Maury Commodores. They got it done against Highland Springs. Ed, a very impressive job for them, 23-14. And, he's really been one of the top coaches in the state since he got there. And you had a feeling they would be at a point where they could compete at an elite level. But the way they do it and just replenish, the guys that graduate. And I thought going into that game, the difference was going to be their defense having 3 or 4 all-state returnees, plus the addition of Ari Watford, who was a big-time pass rusher over at Salem and Virginia Beach, who transferred over. One of several transfers, as you've highlighted here on the program during our preview show and other episodes. Highland Springs had 8 all-state guys on defense, 7 of which graduated. The only one back was Brennan Johnson, Lauren Johnson's son, a.k.a. Peanut at linebacker. So I felt like that was going to help, and I think that enabled them to respond from some adverse pressure situations as good, if not better, than Highland Springs on Friday night.
Right. They've already have some really good talent. Coaching is exceptional. Now you add a couple other youngsters to the mix, quality youngsters, quality athletes. It's only, and of course they've got to fit in. You got to have the mesh. It only makes it better. But now you're playing a Highland Springs, as we just said earlier. You're going top level right off the bat. Everything's got to be clicking to beat a team like that. You're not lucky, even though we do need luck in games. You're not just lucky to beat a team of that nature. And when you have a true program, not just a winning team, a true program that year in and year out is fighting for contention, you're good. It's not just a lot of luck getting by on a lot of luck. You have those athletes coming through. You're building with your JV your middle school JV program. Those kids are moving right on up the ladder. Your program is solid. Your philosophy is solid. That is where Maury's at.
Our question of the day, which you can find on X, once known as Twitter, still referred to by many, including myself to Twitter.
Why is it X now? I'm trying to get. Remember now. I'm going to get a Twitter. I'm going to get a Twitter.
He's going to get a Twitter or
I'm going to do it right here. I'm going to do it
on the show. Maybe we'll have people chime in with what they think your handle should be. Your X handle
and
or
I
your Twitter
want
handle.
somebody to sponsor my going over
your Twitter, your X,
Twitter,
your social media,
to my X now.
Your voyage into social media. But our question of the day, which you can find on 757 Sports Talk on X, or if you still call it Twitter, is: will Maury go undefeated in 2023?
You want me to answer that? Is that the people out there?
We'll take a break, and you can come back and answer that when we get to buy or sell, and then our special guest picker is going to pick some games with us. But let's hear from some more of our sponsors, Ed, as we go to break. And Here we go.
Man, I wish I was out there. Let's unretire. Why not?
Ready, Moss. Dan Marino? You all right? Hey, Grandpa! Grandpa? I still got it. 22. 22. Career game number 13. Let's see. Hey. I need that senior discount. That's the game. Mr. Marino, you mind if I take a selfie? Thank you.
I'm good. Right here, bro.
Unretirement? Who'd be dumb enough to do that?
Okay, who here has reached peak fall?
Peak what?
Peak fall.
I am wearing plaid.
And I'm wearing a cardigan.
I guess I am eating snickerdoodle cookie dough.
And I am eating a pumpkin pie blizzard.
The new DQ Fall Blizzard menu has reached peak fall. Pumpkin pie, snickerdoodle cookie dough, and more. They are back.
I just love fall.
Apparently we all do.
Oh, they did it. Peak fall achieved. DQ, happy tastes good.
Every year, thousands of athletes disappear in clutch moments due to falling hydration levels.
I used to go missing all the time. I let everyone down. I even let Shannon Sharp down.
Yeah, you let me down. They've been told how you feel yourself doesn't matter. That electrolytes are all the same. Then just like that, they're gone. Get yourself back in the game. Get yourself a Gatorade. Could be the difference between dominating and disappearing. Gatorade, rehydrate, replenish, refuel.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
The one and only Stewie from Ed's favorite show, Family Guy, as we're back here with Hatfield and Young at the Plex. I want to thank all of our sponsors again, from Gatorade and Pepsi to Zoop, Triumph Realty, the Drip Bar, One Life Fitness, John's Tax Service, Freddy's, Dairy Queen, CHKD, Sports Medicine, and Chicho's. Ed, it is now time, before we get to our NFL picks, to do buy or sell. And I know you love to buy or sell all kinds of neat, extravagant items. And here we go. You ready for this one?
Let's do it.
First question for buy or sell. Here we go. Buy or sell. Two teams ranked in the top 10 lost in college football by double digits last week, as number 5 LSU fell to Florida State 45-24. Did you watch any of that game?
No, I missed it.
You're unbelievable. You're not watching any of these games.
And Bruce Kelly, former Notre Dame coach.
Kelly.
Brian
Kelly.
Brian Kelly.
Okay. And Clemson, number 9 in the country, fell at Duke with a lot of 7.57 flavor. Peyton Jones from Maury, Karan Boyd, Kempsville, Leon Griffin III from Bayside, David Anderson from Kecoughtan, and Zon Burton's an assistant coach people know well. Did an event here at the Plex a couple years ago during the COVID period where they get the kids a chance to play some football. At least one top 10 team in college football is going to lose by double digits today. Are you buying or are you selling? And I know, since this question has come up, Ed says, well, because he didn't come in prepared at all. He was woefully prepared, ladies and gents, for this. Who's playing today? There's the top 25 matchups right there on the screen. Ball State at Georgia, UNLV at Michigan. You have Texas taking on Alabama. But will they lose by double digits, the Crimson Tide? I don't think so. Southern Miss at Florida State. Don't see the Noles getting picked off there. And you have Youngstown State also in play. What do you think? Will one team lose by double digits today? Are you buying that or are you selling that? I'm inclined to sell it. Southern Cal playing Stanford, Delaware, Penn State. I think a top 10 team could lose. Alabama might be the one. I don't see Washington losing to Tulsa. But by double digits, I'm selling it.
Oh, boy. I want to buy it because...
Notre Dame's at NC State. Will they get the offense revved up behind former UVA quarterback Brennan Armstrong? Will they get it revved up and drop Ed's Irish? He's not Irish. He's not Catholic, but he is an Fighting Irish Notre Dame fan. Will they drop them by double figures?
No. I think Notre Dame wins that by 3 touchdowns.
Oh, that's bold. The line's like 6, 7.5.
Yeah, I think it'll go.
That's
up a
bold.
little bit.
No way.
You
Not a chance in
have
the world.
Appalachian State. Remember them from back in the day at Carolina? That could be interesting. The one that I pick, and it's only because it's 2 top 20s playing each other. Texas at Alabama.
You think Texas is going to beat them?
No. Alabama.
So you just said the one that you pick, and then you backed off it. Where are you going? You're like
Texas,
waffling. You're waffling.
Texas.
You know what he's going to say? I'm a pancake guy.
Texas loses by double digits to Alabama. That's a top 10. It's a top 20.
So you are saying it's going to happen?
It's going to happen.
Wow. I don't see it. I really don't see it.
I'm going with that.
Okay. Number 2. Buy or sell. James Madison University's at Virginia. They will have a closer final score margin than the Battle of the Bay matchup with Norfolk State. Behold the green and gold at Hampton today. I actually got to call the Norfolk State-Hampton game last year. Did you see how Norfolk State lost last week, by the way, against Virginia State? I know you saw that video. It's crazy. If you haven't seen that footage, folks, that was one of the wildest innings of a college football game I've ever seen. High school, college, or pro.
Speaking of
tough loss for the Spartans.
Speaking of Norfolk State football, a friend of ours came in to see me in the classroom the other day.
Who's that?
Nolan James.
Oh, former
Nolan
Phoebus
James came in there. Yep, he had to pick up some things at the school. Nolan came by the classroom, gave me a coach. I want to say I came in. I want to give you a shout out. Was admirable with a young man. He didn't have to do that, but he came in the classroom.
Cool.
And so Nolan James, and
you're stalling to make me go first.
Oh, no, it's my turn to go first.
Yeah.
So I will go first. So JMU, Virginia will have a closer final margin.
Score margin.
I would say Virginia wins by 3.
By 3? You know JMU is favored, correct?
I'm going Virginia by 3.
By 3.
Norfolk State, Hampton.
In Charlottesville. Duke's favored by 6 in this game. You probably couldn't name 3 players on either team if I paid you $100 cash, which I don't have on me.
Jones, Smith.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Brown.
That's what I got on me.
Money.
I got a 50 on me right here. If you could name 3 Cavaliers and 3 Dukes.
See,
you can't do it. You can't do it.
I just gave you the last
No. First and last.
No, you didn't say that. You said names.
No,
you gave you the last names.
No. It doesn't work
Johnson
that way.
on the defensive team.
I'm sure.
Number 85
Look at
is
you.
Rodriguez.
I dropped the card I need. That's not good.
See, this
better
is
not lose it. Before
this is why. This is what I got to put up. This is what I got to live. Anyways, buy and sell. I'm going to say Virginia JMU matchup
will be closer.
I will buy that.
I'm buying that too. We're agreeing. I don't like this that we're agreeing. I think Hampton beats Norfolk State by 2 scores, by 13 to 15 points. That's what I think. All right, next one. The top 3 passes in the NFL for 2023 in terms of yardage will be from the AFC, all 3. And by the way, if you go on the sports services, your FanDuels, your DraftKings, those places that have these where you can wager responsibly, they have Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, and Kirk Cousins. I think Cousins is 4th or 5th as your odds to be the leading passing yardage leaders. Are you buying that the top 3, each of the top 3 will be AFC quarterbacks this year? I'm buying this all the way. Might be the top 5.
Yeah, I would say right off the top of my head, I buy it. They're saying Kirk Cousins is the best yardage
in the NFC
in the
to lead the NFC, but he's I don't think he's going to break the top 3.
Yeah,
although the Vikings would have to get behind and throw it a lot, which our man Nick Senti is a Vikes fan, which I just learned a few weeks ago. I don't think he wants that to happen. He wants them to run the ball, play defense, and win that way.
I buy it. Top 3 passes in terms of yardage.
I'm not sure they have a 7.57 presence on the team anymore, the Vikings. They used to have many years back Percy Harvin, who played at Lansdowne, and also had recently Jalen Holmes from Lake Taylor. But okay, so you're buying it. You agree again with me. Doggone it. We got to disagree on something. Unbelievable. All right, let's try another NFL question before our bonus one, and we take a break and have our special NFL guest picker for today. Buy or sell Bryce Young from Alabama, a former Heisman winner. Got it a couple of seasons ago. Caleb Williams got it last year from Southern Cal. He was the first pick in the draft. Will he become the 5th rookie QB selected number 1 overall since 1967 to win his first career start and lead the Carolina Panthers to victory over the Atlanta Falcons on the road? Are you buying or selling that Bryce Young is going to lead the Panthers on the prowl past the Falcons in the NFC South battle?
Sell it. Falcons by 10.
Falcons by 10. You're selling it.
I'm going to sell it.
I think the Falcons will win this game, not by 10, but I am once again selling like you. This is just an agreement segment. I'm not loving this at all.
Well, you
Unbelievable.
can go against. There are many times I had to take the.
We're gonna disagree. We have to have a bonus one because this isn't enough here. Here's a bonus question. You ready? Here we go. Let's go to baseball. Who doesn't love baseball this time of year? Before we go to break here.
Me,
bonus buy or sell. The Arizona Diamondbacks pitcher Zach Gallen, who pitched a masterful gem on Friday at Wrigley Field against the Cubbies. He will win the 2023 NL Cy Young. As you see on the screen there, Gallen is 15-7 with a 3.31 ERA and 195 strikeouts. I am buying it because here's why. Your other three candidates, Steele from the Cubs, Justin Steele. You have Steven Strider from the Braves, who got lit up by the Cardinals the other day, and you have Blake Snell from the Padres, who's done a really good job and I think is the Vegas favorite, although he walks a lot of people and the Padres are below 500. Gallen gave the D-backs, my beloved Arizona Diamondbacks, a chance to get the last wild card spot in spite of our terrible bullpen, our up-and-down offense. I'm buying it. He's getting Cy Young after that gem yesterday. If they make the playoffs, you're going to remember that Friday at Wrigley in September when Hatfield came on this podcast and ran his mouth about the D-backs. I'm all in. I'm buying it. My fandom
you didn't give me many options to who would win.
I just did. Strider, Snell, and Steele. The S's. Are you taking the S's over Mr. G-Man, Mr. Gallen?
In order for us to be different,
I
will sell it.
Yeah.
Zach Gallen will not win the Cy Young.
Is that right?
But he will be a member of the New York Yankees next year.
Don't say that. That's awful. You're going to curse him. We're going to take a timeout. We come back. It's the segment everybody's been waiting for, the NFL picks with our special, famous guest picker. Right now, though, let's hear from one of those sponsors, including Zoop Eatery.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
You said
it. No, I didn't. I can't. I'm busy. You don't know how to get close to it.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we are back here with you at 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Hatfield and Young at the Plex. Thanks to all of our sponsors, including, as you heard, Zoop Eatery. Go on in there and get yourself a perfect box lunch, customizable and individually packaged meals for your convenience. Choose from any of the wide variety of sweet fresh salads, made-to-order sandwiches, all served with a hunk of bread and something for the whole crew at Zoop Eatery. We now bring in a man who's going to make football picks with us. We will have to post these later because I don't have the records from the last 2 years, but I was about 60%. No, he's totally lying. He was under 50% regular season, and we're going to pick 3 games against the spread. Ed and I will, but our guest picker has the option to pick all the games straight up or give us 3 picks against the point spread. We are pleased to be joined by the man that is at the helm of the Virginia Beach Mustangs, one of the best Pop Warner programs in the entire country. We say hello to not the head basketball coach of the Auburn Tigers, but the man with the Mustangs. He's coached a lot of great ones across the 757. We say hey to our friend Bruce Pearl, who's with us. Bruce, good to see you and be out here at the Plex where your Mustangs play regularly. How you been?
Everything is good. Everything is good. How are you guys?
We're doing great.
Good to see you, Bruce.
He's also a man who does all kinds of awesome plaques and trophies at Virginia Trophy. Well, Bruce, we do NFL picks, as you know, from our radio days weekly. Ed is pretty lousy at it. I've done fairly decent. We have all the games for week number 1. And before we start, tell the fans out there, are you a fan of any particular NFL team? As you can see, I'm a Cardinals fan, and I don't feel too great about our chances this year, but I got to support them.
No, not really. I'm just a big fan of the sport. I prefer quarterbacks. I seem to migrate to the better quarterbacks team, but not really a fan of any particular team. I grew up as a Packer fan.
Okay. Not bad, not bad. So you've had a lot of winning to celebrate, whether it be going back to the Bart Starr days, to Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, who just departed. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make our NFL picks. Since you're our special guest, we'll let you go first. Do you want to go through each game across the board straight up, or do you want to give us 3 Bruce Pearl, take them to the bank, lock them in selections against the spread? It's your call here.
Whichever's better for you. I can go through all the games if you like, either straight up or against the number. Whatever, however y'all play, I'll play the same way you do.
Okay, we'll play the same way we do. All right. Well, we'll let you get your first pick. What is Bruce's favorite game of the week that he feels best about? It can be straight up or against the spread. You call it for us.
The straight up's not fair because that's probably not fair. Let's go against the number. I think that
there you go. I like it.
I think that'll be a little bit better.
I like it too.
Probably my best play would be the Jaguars. I got 3.
Okay, you got 3. I'm actually showing it's up to now. It's moved here. I don't know what you're looking at. Is it 3 there? Let's double check it. We'll double check here with the ESPN app just to be sure here. I am showing now that the current spread is 4.5. Will you take it at 4.5? Will you take it at 4.5?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
He's going to go 4.5 for the Jags for selection number 1. All right. You want to go with your second pick here? What do you got for your second selection here?
Sure. I'll take the Steelers.
You're going to go Pittsburgh. How about that? That was Ed's pick. We've got Kenny Pickett in our fantasy football league. Ed took him for me, which is our other quarterback to go with Aaron Rodgers as part of the Keeper League. And Mike Tomlin, obviously a 757 alum out of Denby High School in Newport News. William and Mary. Pittsburgh is a slight pup at 2.5. I'll give you 2.5. Is that good with you against the Niners?
Yes, sir.
All right. And your last pick, and again, you can always take totals, so you can take over-unders if you like as well. What's your third and final pick?
It's tough taking totals early, but I'm going to take the Seahawks, laying the number.
Seahawks laying the number, and right now I am showing them against the Rams at, what's your figure, Bruce? You showing 5 or are you showing less than
5, 5.5?
I'll give you 5. I'll give you -5. So those are Bruce's hot 3 picks there for this week. Bruce Pearl giving you Jags -4.5, the Steelers as a dog plus the 2.5, and the Seahawks -5. And I'm gonna be a nice guy, even though Ed won. Actually, he didn't win much last year. He won, I think, the playoffs in his mind. I'm gonna let him go first in our selections. How we go is he'll take 1, I'll get the next 2. So I'll take the back-to-back, and then he gets the next 2, and I get the last 1. So Ed, and you can copy Bruce's picks if you want, going with or against. We can't copy each other's picks, so that's how this works here. So he's going to take all 3 picks you just made, Bruce, if you can, if you let him. Where do you want to go
Bruce
first?
has some inside info.
Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go with your first selection, Ed? As we fire up some more of the football music in the background for the folks to hear.
What was the Steelers spread?
Steelers spread is 2.5 as a dog against the Niners. Go ahead and take that since you're just a copycat, and that's just right up your alley to go cheat. Lie if you can, steal if you must, but always cheat.
No, I don't want to cheat on that. Let me move over to somewhere nobody had. I don't think anybody mentioned the Vikings and the Buccaneers. Am I right?
No play on the Vikings-Bucks yet, which that's Nick's Vikes. They're a 5-point favorite against Tampa Bay, no longer with Tom Brady because he's on our commercials on our stream with Dan Marino and all those old retired legends.
Give me the Vikings. I'll take it.
You'll take the Vikings, and the number I'm showing is -5 for Minnesota. So Ed's going with the Vikes for his first play. That is item number one. Well, a lot of people in Survivor Leagues are taking Washington, the Commanders, to beat my Cardinals. I understand why. It's a pretty big spread. Some people are going with the Ravens over the Texans. I understand. Pretty decent number there. You can go a lot of different directions here, but I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos -3.5. Sean Payton's taking a lot of heat. Understandably so with his comments about Nathaniel Hackett, which were probably accurate but unnecessary. I think Russell Wilson will be better. He doesn't look like he's as out of shape as he was a season ago, and that Denver defense can fly around and make plays against a Las Vegas offense that has Jimmy Garoppolo until he gets dinged up in the second or third quarter. Sorry, you're a Raiders fan. Sorry, Chuck, who had a Raiders hat on earlier. I'm going to go with Denver laying the 3.5. The hook worries me because if this is a 24-21 type of game, 2017, I'll be kicking the table and upset I get beat by the hook. But I will take Denver minus the 3.5 for pick number one. Pick number two, I'm going to an over-under because, and it's one of the games Bruce highlighted earlier, Seattle and the Rams. If you notice, Cooper Kupp out for the Rams, but the Rams' defense is terrible. Matthew Stafford will come out with something to prove. I think Seattle's defense is not as good as it was back in the day when they had Legion of Boom with Bobby Wagner at linebacker and Richard Sherman, who's on TV now, Cam Chancellor from the 757 in Maury High School. We watched his alma mater get a big win Friday night, and his nephew, by the way, is doing up big for Penn State and Keandre Lambert-Smith. But they don't have him. They don't have Cam. They don't have Sherman. 46 is the number I'm showing right now, guys, for the Seahawks-Rams total. Give me over. I think there will be a boatload of points. This has a feel of a 31-24, 28-24 type of game. I'll take the total here over to 46. I think both quarterbacks, Geno Smith, Geno the Magician, and Matthew Stafford, who's got a great first name, will put up the points and move the football down the field. All right, Ed, you're up for the next two as you peruse your phone. What are you looking at? That's not appropriate to look at. Terrible. What's your next pick?
Well,
I'm just kidding, audience. I'm looking at that.
I'm looking at NFL.com.
Oh, okay.
What's the spread on the Ravens and Texans?
Ravens and Texans, I'm showing, and Bruce can double check me here, I'm showing 9.5. Is that what you're looking at too? He's going to say 9.5 as well. Are you going to lay that heavy number with Lamar Jackson and company? They no longer have Chuck Clark out of Kings Fork, former Virginia Tech Hokie, on the defense, but a lot of people picking the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl this year out of the AFC.
Well, that's a lot of points first week.
A lot of points against a Houston team that could be improved with a rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud.
Yeah. I'm going to stay with it. Take it. Give me Baltimore. Rookie quarterback against a tough defense. Let me have Baltimore.
I see Ed's philosophy, Bruce, much like he does saying we had an argument last week. If people missed it on the show, it's available on our YouTube channel with the Virginia Beach Sports Plex. We'll have a reel up for you on Instagram, which all the kiddies are on these days, and on social media. His philosophy about freshmen. I don't want to play the freshmen. We'll hurt their feelings. It could damage them if they go out in the big game and not perform well. He's going against the rookie QBs in week one, which might not be a bad move, right, Bruce?
I think it's a great idea. I agree with him. I think eventually they'll start figuring it out because there's some good rookie quarterbacks.
There are. C.J. Stroud is one of them for the Texans. Yep, out of the Buckeyes. And obviously Bryce Young for the Panthers out of Alabama. And that's a game I'm really looking in here. But Ed gets the last pick. And just because he does, like every week when we do these picks, he's a devil. He's just devilish. He's going to probably take the Falcons-Panthers here. As he said earlier, it's an easy win by 10.5 points. Well, you're going to go Atlanta. And by the way, just to entice you even more, maybe Hatfield's baiting his partner in this. He's done this before. Good little stat for you. Rookie quarterback, the last number one overall pick to win his first start, David Carr, 2002 for Houston against Dallas. So they are 0-13-1 straight up, 1-13 against the spread in their first start going back to 4-0-2 when Carr broke through for the Texans against, how about them Cowboys? So you going Falcons-Panthers, or are you circling another game as he's pondering this over here, rubbing his chin, his nose, he's thinking about it.
What's the spread on your Cardinals?
Oh, boy, my Cardinals. You have that number, Bruce? I pulled it off. You might have
I had 7.
7 is right. Yeah, that's what I got as well. 7. You going with the Commanders? He's going to do it. Yeah, do it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going Commanders.
He's going Commanders.
7, yeah.
You're going to take Washington's football team, even though you said in the summertime. It might have been on this show or on radio or wherever you said it. I know you said it. We've got it recorded somewhere for posterity, as the late, great teammate Terry Siski said, for posterity. You're going to go with Sam Howell, who you said you think is vastly overrated. You don't think he's that good. And I hope all the Commanders fans remind you of this if he goes out and throws for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns.
I hope he does this week because that's what I'm picking. But they'll lose whoever they're playing next week. But the reason I'm The reason I'm going with Sam Howell this time is name me the Arizona quarterback. It ain't Kurt Warner.
No, it's not. We wish it was. It's not Kyler Murray because he's hurt. It's Joshua Dobbs.
Joshua Dobbs.
Yeah, that's the reason.
Mrs. Dobbs' kid, and she's the only one that's going to go for it.
Wow.
So I'm just saying.
Mrs. Dobbs' kid. All right, so before we recap, I get one more pick here. And you know what? Just to come on here and scream at Ed because if he's wrong, and I'm giving him a chance, Bruce, every chance in the world to just jump out on me, and then I'll just make my little comeback on him. And I really like, and I'm going to be kicking myself. We'll mark this. I want to take Bears minus 1.5 against the Packers, but there's a little bit of a mystery unknown about Jordan Love in Green Bay, and Chicago could let me down. But I feel like the Bears, if you're looking out there to really get it to pay off for you, the Bears could be a great pick this week. Nobody's talking about. But I'm going to go to that Panthers and Falcons game, and I'm going to take the hook of minus 3.5. Desmond Ridder worries the stuffings out of me because it could be Taylor Heineke, the Old Dominion legend, by about week 5 or 6. Their schedule is so easy. I will take the logic of Coach Young with the rookie quarterback. So I'm taking 2 hooks. Denver minus the 3.5 against the Raiders. The Falcons minus the 3.5 against the Panthers. Both are home teams. Over 46 for the Seahawks and Rams, which is a pretty large total, but I think the offenses will come through. Maybe Seattle busts out for like 35 of that for me. Ed's going Vikes minus 5. Ravens minus 9.5. Commanders minus 7, as the Vikes are at home against the Bucks. The Commanders at home against the Cards, and the Ravens at home against the Texans. So no road teams there. Bruce going with the Jaguars on the road minus the 4.5. The Steelers at home against the Niners as a dog, the lone woof in this game, or in this picks edition against San Francisco, and Seattle minus the 5. So that will do it here. And before we let you run, Bruce, we appreciate you doing this. Tell the folks out there about the Mustangs and what's going on with your football organization. Always a great time with them weekly, and you got a bunch of youngsters that are enjoying the game of football.
Yep, we got 6 teams this year. We're playing out here at the Sports Plex for all our home games. We're here all day today. A couple of pretty big games going on. 2:30, the 10U Mustangs are playing the 10U Bulls, which is a highly anticipated game. And then after that, the 11U Bulls, which are defending 2-time national champs. They're coming out here to play after that, and they're very, very good as well.
One last thing for me, and Eddie can finish up here. Will you allow at the end of one of your games where the score is totally out of reach for Ed to call one of his famous flea flicker crazy plays with the kids, or will the parents be on him so bad and throw him out of town? It just won't have any chance of happening.
It really wouldn't matter. However, once we get up a lot, we try not to run up the score. So we'll probably just plod the ball up the middle a little bit and let everybody leave somewhat happy.
Got to make the kids feel good about themselves with everything. But Bruce, get your league teams to put the flea flicker in, where they hand off to the running back, who throws to the wide receiver, who throws it to the quarterback who had already snuck out, and then on the goal line, give it to the tackle, put him in the backfield, give it to the tackle, and just let him hold the ball and run straight through.
You say that tongue in cheek, but I had 2 offensive linemen got extra points last week. So
there you go.
Let's keep them excited. Let's keep them excited and give them an opportunity to run the football. They're 10. They don't really know what they're going to be eventually. So let's give them a little taste to run the football. If they block well, we're going to give them a little love.
That is tremendous to do. I need to be coaching me some young football.
Yeah,
come on out.
Yeah, here he goes. Why not? He's got an invitation. You could go take him up on that.
I'm going to have to come out there one of these times and show these youngsters.
Well, we look forward to it again, Bruce. Thank you for being our guest picker today. You're the real Bruce Pearl. The other Bruce Pearl is just the imposter. You're the real one.
Now, you guys are doing a great job. You know, I listen to you all the time.
Appreciate
it, Bruce. And you don't get recruiting violations like the other Bruce Pearl does, so that's why we pick you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. No question.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming on. That is the one and only Bruce Pearl, Virginia Beach Mustangs. Go check them out if you haven't done so, and go support that organization. They do a splendid job. Well, Ed, we are just about out of time. Any final parting shots here before we bid adieu on this edition of the podcast, as there are some interesting games in pro football coming up on Sunday. Obviously, the Monday night game with the Jets and the Bills is fascinating because we're all rooting for the Jets. You say why? Because on last week's show, Ed Young declared if the Jets make it to the Super Bowl, he will get a tattoo.
I did.
he will get a tattoo.
Let me hear that and make sure it was done.
We'll play it back for you.
All kind of stuff
we'll actually cut it up as a clip and have it in the cooker for next week's show. For those that missed it, you declaring that you will get a tattoo, which the whole audience will love to see. You're taking a page out of John Kecoughtan, the real Coach K's book, not
Coach,
the one from Duke.
I think Coach got an earring.
Right, but it's the same thing. You made it guaranteed. Now, didn't you one year say if your team won a state championship, you'd get a tattoo or an earring for basketball? No. But you did. Well, it didn't happen because you haven't gotten the tattoo or earring yet.
Yeah, so we haven't won that state title. I was way back in the day, but not here lately. But I think I'm a little bit safe on getting that right now.
Okay. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. Again, like, share, subscribe on our YouTube channel with the Virginia Beach Sportsplex.
Sponsorship.
Hey, should be a fun day in college football before we sign off as well. How about Deion Sanders? Primetime last week against TCU and a big one with Nebraska. They're only a slight favorite. Does Deion keep this going? I know later in the month, some tough ones coming with Oregon, the Quack Ducks, and Southern Cal with Caleb Williams. And how about the Pac-12 unblemished last week? Perfect 13-0. They got some quarterbacks and some offenses that are
real quick
unbelievable.
On Deion. Tremendous job last week from the youngsters. The world went nuts about it. It was the biggest story. People said they're going to win 8, 9, 10 games. People said they're going to Final Four. It's their first win. No, they weren't supposed to win, but you win the games, lose the games on the field, not on paper. We said that earlier. I think they were predicted to win like 2 or 3 games beginning of the year. I looked at their schedule. I would say 4, maybe 5. Can they beat Nebraska? Absolutely. That win last week can really get them going for beating Nebraska. They're not beating Southern Cal. I don't see them beating Utah. They're not beating Oregon. Losses are coming, but he has done a tremendous job. He is a tremendous motivator, but, he's not the world beater yet. And Deion's rubbed it into some people because they deserve it.
Right.
And I hope he does well. I didn't think he would have lasted Jackson State. He did a tremendous job. Now he's at Colorado. I think he'll do a good job there also.
A couple of things. There's more than one way to skin a cat. And
you should never skin a cat. Skin the chicken off the chicken breast. You take that skin off and throw it away. It's not good. Leave the cats alone.
Okay. Well, there's more than one way to get the job done as a coach. And more than one way to be successful. If you show the kids, if you show your players that you love them, they'll do anything for you. And right now, he has a great love relationship with his players. Shedeur Sanders, his son, being the quarterback. Obviously, Hunter was fabulous in their win, and he's already in Heisman talk as an offense-defense Charles Woodson type, if you will, for Colorado. Another son on that team, Shiloh. Listen, they have talent. They've gotten players to come in. They're showing if you love them, if you have passion, if you care, they'll run through brick wall for you. Do anything for you.
They'll play hard for you, right? If they feel there's a carrot and a push.
Sure.
The bottom line on that play hard stuff is it's great, but when you're playing teams more talented who are working harder, bigger, stronger, faster, quicker, you can have all the raw and love you want. You're not winning those games, but they will play hard, which gives you a chance to win those games. There's a big difference.
Well, and as we get ready to sign off here in the last couple of minutes, I feel like line of scrimmage for Nebraska is going to be right there, equal, even on par, maybe a little bit better than Colorado. So this game could be a lot closer, and there is a legitimate hangover effect. And Nebraska did play well defensively in their loss that they had to begin the season. I believe it was to Minnesota. So they're not a pushover here, and I would not say that this is a big upset either way. I think this is a game that does probably look like a toss-up, even though Colorado has the better playmaker guys and skill guys, and looks like they should be able to take care of business as far as on the outside on the perimeter.
Real quick, not Texas and Alabama. Excuse me. What top 20 team could lose today?
What top 20 team could lose today?
Throw it at you.
Notre Dame could certainly lose at NC State. I'll give you one that's sneaky because they're coming off a bad loss and it's a trap type of spot. Baylor at home against Utah.
Bingo.
Baylor coming off the loss at Texas State. I don't feel great about them in that spot. It would concern me a great deal. I think Texas A&M, who's just outside the top 20, beats Miami. Oh, I'll give you one here. Here's an upset special, a guarantee, if you will. Tulane at home as an 8-point pup, I think will cover and probably outright beat Ole Miss. 14 of 15, 294 yards passing and 4 touchdowns from Michael Pratt, the QB from Boca Raton for the Tulane Green Wave, who had a great year last year, beat USC in the bowl game. I think Tulane's for real. I think that they're going to be a factor yet again. Another team that could go down is Wisconsin. They played around last week at Buffalo, did not look good early. They're having an offensive change in philosophy a little bit, trying to throw more. Tanner Mordecai coming in from SMU with that running game, which they're known for with that offensive line. 5-point favorite at Washington State, who's got a legit quarterback as well. And Cam Ward, who threw for 451 and 3 touchdowns last week. Don't be surprised if the Cougars in Pullman knock off Wisconsin. And by the way, Old Dominion's home opener, the Monarchs taking on Louisiana today. Big game for them, coming off the loss to Virginia Tech. Hokies got it done with Ollie Jennings playing in a big performance for them, the ex-Monarch. ODU showed some fight with the running game, had some struggles at times offensively, more so even defensively, but 6-point dog at home against the Raging Cajuns. Do they get it done? What do you think?
Old Dominion will win.
Ooh, you heard it from Coach Young right there. They will win. Sorry, Monarchs. I think you cover but lose by a field goal. That's my hunch in that one. So there you have it. That's going to do it for this edition, 757 Saturday Sports Talk at the Plex. And we thank you for tuning in. We want to thank our sponsors from CHKD and Dairy Queen to Freddy's, Chicho's, John's Tax Service, One Life, The Drip Bar, Triumph Realty, Zoop, Pepsi, and Gatorade. We'll do it again next time. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbors, tell all your sports fans. We're here for you. Interact with us, comment on us, share. We want to hear from you. And this was fun, Ed. We'll do it again next week.
Hopefully, good Lord willing, we'll be there. We'll be here. Hopefully, you'll be there.
We'll talk to you next week here from the Plex in Virginia Beach. Enjoy your sports weekend, everyone.
Thank you.